Man, I tell you what, it is the Alternates podcast tonight.
Hey, what's ultimate? I quit. I'm out of here. I don't have to take this kind of abuse.
I mean, there's nothing wrong with you guys.
I know that.
I love having you guys here.
Uh-huh.
We're the prime ones. It's because we don't show up as much because we're that awesome.
No, I think it's because
Yes.
the trailers you watch just wear on your mind that you need that much time to recuperate. I think that's what it is.
Yeah, because most of them were god awful.
Yeah, there's only so many Quaaludes. You know?
I'm glad someone else references fucking Quaaludes on this podcast. I'm not the only one.
Yeah, it's good stuff. Yeah, sure. Glad to be a part of it.
A few podcasts ago, I had made a joke about Quaaludes, and we were with Chicago John recording. He's like,
Right.
"What the fuck is it? 1989? Who the hell are you?"
Yeah, it's relevant, right?
Yeah, it's still relevant, right? You know, and Ecto Cooler and MC Hammer Pants.
Hey, those came back.
The Hammer Pants or Ecto Cooler?
The pants.
The pants.
Ooh.
They
About to
did
say,
start to come back in
Ecto
fashion.
Cooler needs to come back. I want my, and that's the only thing I'm looking forward to with the Ghostbusters reboot. They better fucking bring back Ecto Cooler. Because if they
That
don't...
was the green juice in the cans, wasn't it?
Well, it was in cans, but it was also juice boxes.
Yeah.
God,
Pouches
it had
too,
Slimer
maybe.
on the front.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh God, I remember having
yellow.
cans of that in my basement.
Oh, I loved it. I loved
God,
it. It was
like,
so
Mom,
good.
Can we have this?
It was...
Sure.
It was orange flavored drink, but it was green. It was amazing.
Orange flavored drink that's green. Man, with a name like that.
Yeah,
Sounds
well, how can
great.
you go wrong? And people don't realize this, but Ecto Cooler actually existed until like 4 or 5 years ago. It was just under a different name.
Ooh.
So you had Ecto Cooler, and then it changed to like Screamin' Green or something like that. And then they renamed it to like Orange something Crush or something. It wasn't the Crush soda,
Yeah.
but it was
Okay.
something else like that. But it was still green and tasted like orange.
Wow.
And they sold it under a different name, just not Ecto Cooler. And then like 4 or 5 years ago, they just stopped making it. I was like, okay, well, I didn't know they still had it around, but I'm like, can you just bring back Ecto Cooler, please? Just so I know it exists, you know? Because that was my childhood. I would have like a box of that every other day with my packed lunch, with my Super Mario Brothers lunchbox.
Very nice.
Who didn't have Ecto Cooler in their lunch or other juice boxes?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I was more sips. I like the sips.
Sips are okay.
Hey, careful. Okay?
Wait, were those the jugs?
No, it was a little juice box.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
But it had 2 S's on the front of sips.
Sips.
So sips.
Oh.
Very nice. Very good
I remember
stuff.
the jugs. They still have the jugs too.
Oh, wow.
I remember my mom switched to Mott's because she's like, oh, there's vitamins in Mott's. I'm like, but Mott's tastes like shit.
Mom, give me my Ecto Cooler.
It's like the Dave Chappelle joke. I don't need all them vitamins. Just give me my drink.
Oh, dear.
Give me my cheesy poofs.
Oh, my goodness.
So, welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Threading and Dreading. It's going to be the nostalgic hour, apparently.
Yeah, forget the movies. Can we just talk about the 90s?
Yeah. Yes, I would more than love to do that.
Welcome back, 90s.
But, there sadly couldn't be too many people tonight. A lot of people are working. It's kind of a busy time of year, considering, Valentine's Day right around the corner. But we are going to get out a list of some movie trailers, a little bit of movie news, and some bullshit. Right now, I'm going to go around and introduce everybody. To my right, we have...
I'm the dystopian. It's been a little while.
Yeah, it's been a little while.
Yeah,
That's all
but
right.
good to be back.
Yeah, well, you've kind of been back and forth because you got a new job.
That's true. That's
And
true.
congrats on that.
And thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah, I'm an adult. Who knew? I knew I had it in me all this time.
Yeah. Well, you're still getting adjusted to your new sleep schedule because you were overnights before, right?
This is true.
Yeah,
This is
so-
true. I'm
How do you
back-
like the daylight?
It's nice, you
It
know.
burns!
No, seriously, when I was on night shift, I would curse the sun because I'd be going to sleep and the light coming through the blinds would just keep me up, and it was awful.
Oh my God, I got room darkening curtains.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
like black in my room.
Isn't that wonderful?
Oh my God, I sleep too much.
You
If I,
sleep too much.
if I sleep through my alarm,
Right,
Oh,
you're
thank-
done.
I'm
You'll never
done.
Make it. You'll never make it.
because I'm like, it's still dark out.
But you may hear one more voice in the room, and in fact, it has been a long time coming, probably 6-7 months since the anniversary podcast was the last one you were on. But I do want to say it is a very good homecoming.
Boy.
Ladies and gentlemen, you know her, you love her. It is the 3-star Sapphire.
Huzzah! Huzzah! I thought you were dead.
I'm not dead.
I'm not dead.
I'll go for a walk.
You're not fooling anyone.
How are you doing, ma'am?
I'm doing good.
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 Glad you're back.
I know. It's been a rough journey.
I know. It's been a very rough journey, apparently.
It's been so rough.
I mean, there have been several fan theories as to, what exactly happened to the 3-star Sapphire. And they've all entertained me. I've had a good laugh about them. But do you want to explain to the listeners exactly what happened, why you haven't been here?
Well, it all started. The fangirl and I, we were hanging out, having a good time.
The fangirl extraordinaire.
Fangirl extraordinaire. And then I said, you know Quidditch isn't real, right?
Wait, what did you? What was that?
I said, Quidditch isn't a real sport. You know that, right?
How? Why? Why would you say that?
And then it just went dark.
Everything went dark.
I don't really know. And then I was in a cabin. I was in the woods. I was scared.
Was Chris Hemsworth there?
I didn't see anybody. So I ran. And then there were these trees.
Wait.
You know what that means? These trees.
Oh.
They were not friendly trees.
Wait, so they were throwing apples? Is that what you're saying?
No. Apples would have been good.
Worms.
Ew.
Not
Those trees.
Sam Raimi trees.
So after getting free of the trees, that was rough. But it was literally rough.
Rough. Ba-da-ba-ba-da-bop.
So then, hooked up with snake charmer trying to get back. Well.
Snake charmer.
Well, I was all fun and games till I was trying not to get caught. He's like, hide in the snake.
Hide in the snake.
Hide in the snake.
In the snake.
They did it on TV.
Huh.
I said, I don't know how that turned out. You'll be fine.
Real nice.
Be fine.
You didn't watch that program about the guy getting eaten by the boa?
I didn't know how it turned out. I
did.
knew they were doing it.
I saw the clip, and what happened was...
I found out later he chickened out.
Well, no, he didn't chicken out, but he was getting coiled.
Uh-huh.
The snake was around him, and his arm got caught in a bad position to the point where he was going to go in just like a board and was going to be stiff. That's the way he wanted to go in.
Stiff as a board, light as a feather.
Right.
Past the digestive system.
And that's what he was hoping to do, but his arm got pinched in the wrong direction, and the snake actually started breaking his arm.
Then he chickened out.
Yeah. And so he's like, it's breaking my arm. I can't do this. And I'm like, dumbass.
Should have just let it eat him. Well, you fucked up. You're done.
Right.
Bye.
So I got away from the snake charmer and all that jazz, and I'm back.
You're back. Well, we're
been
glad
a
you're
journey.
back. After your ordeal with the fangirl and angry trees and a snake charmer, we're glad you're back.
Yes.
Oh, I'm glad to be back. Back in the world of normal. Well, there's some air quotes around that.
Yeah,
Normal.
there's nothing normal about this podcast.
More
You know
normal. Slightly more
It's
normal.
better than poison Triscuits.
Okay.
that. Wow.
Well,
Wow.
Huh.
How did I know that was going to come up? Ugh.
because she's not here. I had to bring her up somehow.
Yeah. And about that, a lot of people about that guy who's want to get swallowed by the snake. It was like, oh, it's for science. I'm like, either that or you just have a vor fetish. I don't know what the hell you are.
It is not for science.
No, it is not for science at all.
If you want something for science, send something inanimate down there.
Right.
Yeah.
Ugh, well, whatever. But we are glad you're back and that you're safe and sound.
Yes.
Hopefully we'll have you back on more.
Yes, hopefully.
Hopefully. But you guys have anything else you want to bring up before we get into some movie news?
No, I think we're
No?
good.
Okay. Well, we do have a little bit. I shouldn't say a little bit. We do have a decent amount of
Is that
movie.
like 6 pages worth of stuff?
No, it's 2 pages.
Yeah, what's that tome you just brought out? It's kind of dusty.
In the beginning.
Yeah. Oh, jeez.
In the beginning.
Yeah.
Which day of Genesis are we on? Yeah.
So there is one big bit of movie news that we need to get to first, and I'm sure you guys have heard about this, but it is that Sony and Disney have agreed to share Spider-Man.
So that's all I've heard. I don't know any of the finer points of that. Exactly, how that's going to work itself out.
And I have some of the details right now.
Excellent.
Now again, they're still working out the finer details, and
Right.
and you looked a little confused, Alison. What's the confusion?
Is this like the 5th, 6th reboot?
For Spider-Man?
Yeah. I'm trying to
yeah.
figure out how many reboots we're on now.
Okay, this is the third.
Oh, the 3rd?
Yeah, it's the third. Because we had Sam Raimi's version, Tobey Maguire.
Uh-huh.
Then we had the most recent version, which
Yeah.
was Andrew Garfield.
Uh-huh.
Now that one's out. Now it's going to be rebooted again.
I thought there was one before Tobey Maguire.
There may have been some sort of offshoot like film that maybe was sanctioned by Marvel but wasn't really a Marvel property. I don't know, but
Maybe I'm just thinking all the different cartoon versions.
yeah, you could be, all the different cartoons, yeah.
Because they like rebooted that a few times too.
Oh yeah, there were
Let's
several.
get new animators.
Yeah,
Yep.
there were several cartoons. Most of them were pretty good. There were some that were corny, but most of the cartoons were good.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, so here are the finer details about this partnership. Sony Pictures Entertainment and Marvel Studios officially announced today that Sony is bringing Marvel into the amazing world of Spider-Man. Under a new deal, a new Spider-Man, not Andrew Garfield, will first appear in a currently unspecified Marvel film within the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
Interesting.
Sony Pictures, however, will therefore release the next installment of its $4 billion Spider-Man franchise on July 28th, 2017. So, what's happening from here on out is the character is going to be shared between Sony and Marvel. Sony is keeping the rights to Spider-Man, but he will appear in Marvel Cinematic Universe films. But there's still going to be new Spider-Man films, but Marvel characters from the Cinematic Universe could appear in those movies.
Right.
So Sony and Marvel are going to be sharing all their characters. It's brilliant. And everyone's been saying, why didn't you do this from the start? You can keep the rights to all your characters. You can still keep your movies, but create a big universe. There's nothing stopping you from doing that.
They're doing basically what the comic books did, right?
Right. But, to go back to the very beginning, Marvel, before they had the money to make all these films, started selling off all their properties. Most notably, they sold off Spider-Man. They sold off Daredevil. They sold off the X-Men, of course. They sold off the Punisher, Fantastic Four. Well, when Marvel suddenly became big, when they started making some big budget movies, when they got into some money, they're like, it'd be nice if we got our properties back. And it was really 20th Century Fox turned around and said, haha, nope.
We keep it up.
Right. And the whole contract, I believe, goes that 20th Century Fox has to make a movie every 2 years to keep the rights to X-Men. If they don't make a movie every 2 years, they lose the rights. And if you've noticed, since 2001, there's been a new X-Men or Wolverine film every 2 years.
That's true. Huh.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't even realize that.
And
That's why.
they're keeping the rights.
Huh.
And that's why this is happening. Now we're going to be getting one every year, because now they're coming out with a Gambit offshoot, with an X-Force movie, and like offshoots of X-Men. So 20th Century Fox is saying, no, we're keeping this for a long time, so fuck you, Marvel. On the other side, Sony has said, well, we've kind of shit the bucket with Spider-Man.
Take it back. Fix it.
Right. We've kind of fucked this all up because Amazing Spider-Man 2 was pretty damn bad. And they said, you know what? We can't really do anything else with this character. Marvel, do you want to share him? And Marvel's like, yes.
Why, yes. We'll share Spider-Man.
Right. So what's going to happen now is that the Sony team is going to collaborate with the Marvel team to create their own movies. Now, it could be a situation of, too many cooks. There might be, just muddled mess because everyone wants to have their say. But at least from now on, we may see, or probably will see, Spider-Man teaming up with what we classically know as the Marvel Cinematic Universe, which, of course, has everyone excited. Because since all of this stuff is happening in New York, you're like, where the hell is Spidey?
Oh, yeah.
So, the only other things to mention about this is that as a result of this deal, a lot of the Marvel films that were coming out for Phase 3 have been pushed back.
Okay.
So it's going to include Thor Ragnarok, which was planned for July 28th, 2017, but that's now the new release date for this Spider-Man cross-venture. So that's been moved back to November 3rd, 2017. Black Panther has been moved back to July 6th, 2018, and that bumps up Captain Marvel to July 12th, 2019. Now, the only two things past that were the Avengers Infinity War, which is the sequel to the movie coming out this summer, Age of Ultron.
Right.
But Infinity War apparently isn't changing. They're keeping the slate even on that, which tells me they're probably not going to include Spider-Man in the Infinity War. But they might include him in some other things, like the Inhumans or whatever.
Huh.
So, yeah, this creates a lot of logistical problems, but as a fanboy, you have to be excited about this, because this is finally a studio saying, you know what, let's share these characters, because they belong in the same universe. Let's just have fun with it. because they belong together. They do. And there's been an image circulating the internet of Captain America breaking into Sony Studios and grabbing Spider-Man and dragging him out.
Jeez, nice.
That's great.
Yeah, I hope they do it well.
Yeah.
It's going to be exciting to see how they pull it off.
Yeah. And the way they're doing it is the right way. It's like Disney could have said, "Oh, well, we'll buy Spider-Man back because you're treating him badly," but Sony doesn't want to do that. It's still a very, very profitable franchise. It's a $4 billion franchise.
Wow.
Sony isn't going to want to get rid of it. But that being said, they realize that who they have for screenwriters are terrible, and they can't really write good material. Meanwhile, on the Marvel side, you could argue that all of the Marvel Cinematic Universe movies are at least decent, if not good or great. So,
Yeah, okay.
yeah, so why not share it? Why not have some of those screenwriters come in and do something good with this?
Yeah, why not?
You guys have anything to add? Come on.
Hey.
Other than just excited?
Well, I mean, I'm cautious because it's never been done.
Right.
So I have to wait.
We gotta wait till it pans out
Yeah.
to see what.
Because, I mean, on paper, yeah, that all sounds excellent. But we...
So did a lot of other things.
Yeah, exactly.
in the past.
Right, and
then
it's still
we
a couple
see it and
year-
we're like, really?
It's still a couple years off. We'll see what happens. But do you know who's actually upset about this? Hugh Jackman. Hugh Jackman for years has been saying, "Put me in an Avengers film. I fucking want to be in an Avengers film." Because you want to see Wolverine next to Iron Man and Thor and Captain America. You want to see him there.
Yeah.
But they
You wanna
won't
see
do it
him
because
rip
20th
people apart.
Right, because 20th Century Fox is a bunch of assholes.
Life's just tough. I don't know.
Right. He actually had a great reaction. They were interviewing him for a movie coming out soon. He has a movie coming out, but
I don't know.
He was promoting something, and they said to him, "Oh, well, by the way, Sony and Marvel are going to be sharing Spider-Man," and his eyes just lit up, like, really? Like he's like, "There's a shot for me, Like, it's gonna happen
For me to be in an Avenger movie.
Jeez. That's funny.
Yeah. So, yeah, I'm excited for it. I cannot wait for it. But now, we are going to get into a new segment, which I lovingly like to call the Reboot Corner, or the Reboot Game, if you will.
Reboot.
Reboot!
Canadian cartoons. All right.
I loved Reboot. That was an amazing
about to say.
cartoon.
It did not age well.
Oh, no, it didn't. But I loved the premise.
Yeah, it was awesome.
Yeah. And for its time, it was creative.
Yeah.
They had so many cool references in that. I remember they had like the Halloween episode where everything was referencing to Evil Dead and Elvira and
Cool.
and like stuff like that. It was great where they had a game where you were basically they were getting attacked by Ash, was from Evil Dead, and the little boy, I forget his name.
Enzo?
Yeah, Enzo.
I don't remember any of their
Yeah.
names, but
He
I'm
was
like, they were the people in the like little purple people.
He was a zombie, and then the girl Dot was Elvira.
Dot
And they
Matrix?
gave her a massive rack.
Nice.
I was like, really?
Of course. Got to be consistent.
Right. So, what we're going to hop into first is, well, we're really going to talk about one right off the bat. So, let me give you guys a brief little, well, not quiz, but a little questionnaire here. Of all the, offshoot or bizarre Disney films you've seen in the past, which one would you think wouldn't get a remake? Or, a modern retelling? Because, we've gotten, Alice in Wonderland, this upcoming Cinderella, we've gotten Maleficent. What do you think wouldn't get one? Just off the top of your head, anything.
Dumbo?
Dumbo, okay.
Fantasia, maybe?
Well,
No,
they did Fantasia.
They did Fantasia and they
Fantasia
did
2000.
2000.
Oh.
They
Yeah.
did do
I
two of
missed
them.
that.
If
I like
I
the
s-
dancing hippos and gators.
Yeah.
It was so fun.
If I say Peach Dragon, does it ring any bells?
Oh my god.
I think I've drank a peach dragon before. I don't know about...
Pete's Dragon?
Peach
Oh,
Dragon.
Pete's dragon.
Pete's Dragon.
I heard you say peach dragon.
Not Peach Dragon.
Well,
God.
Peach
Well, guess what?
Dragon.
I don't know either of those things, so...
I know Pete's Dragon.
Disney-
I forgot that was Disney.
Oh, it was Disney.
Really?
And Disney has confirmed principal photography for Peach Dragon. They are remaking Peach Dragon.
I mean, I guess they could do much better now because the dragon was... He was unique.
Well, I mean, he was 2D animation. It was back in the... Well, let me see. What year was it that came out?
89?
77.
Oh, 77?
Yeah.
Oh, is that?
Yeah?
Oh, God. I thought it was like 80s.
But yeah, so Disney has confirmed that they are remaking that. It's going to be a reimagining of the 1977 Disney classic, and the film's going to blend live action with CGI to tell basically what's going to be a dragon that's going to be fully digitally rendered now. It's not going to be 2D animated. But to explain Pete's Dragon to Will, who hasn't seen it, it's about a little boy, I think he was 10 or 11, who discovers like one of the last dragons in the world, and it's animated, so it's a big, goofy, fun dragon.
Okay, that kind of.
It's a live action with the animated dragon.
Exactly,
Right.
It's a combination of the two.
What color was the dragon?
Green.
With
Okay.
Purple spots.
That sounds kind of
call
familiar.
him-
I'll have to look it up later.
Right.
He kind of glowed around all of his edges like all the time.
Oh,
Yeah,
groovy.
I think that was kind of how they
got away with the animation.
They got away with the animation a little bit better.
The
They're
edges
like,
were a little fuzzy to blend in.
Yeah,
Right.
kind of.
Okay.
Probably.
Right, but it's going to star Bryce Dallas Howard as Grace, who's apparently somehow works as a park ranger or something where the dragon lives. We're gonna get Oaks Fagley, who was in This Is Where I Leave You, as well as Wes Bentley from The Hunger Games, and Carl Urban actually, who's going to be playing a guy called Jack.
Are they going to have the lighthouse?
I don't know. Oh, and also Robert Redford's going to be in it.
Because why not?
Yeah, well, why not? As Bryce Dallas Howard's father. So, yeah. I gotta say, they've got a good cast together for this. Oh, and the digital effects are going to be by Weta Digital. Weta Digital is the company that worked with Lord of the Rings.
Right.
Founded by
They
Peter
did
Jackson. And they're a very good digital studio.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
they are.
So,
Good rendering.
yeah, I gotta say, Disney working with Weta, that sounds like a really good combination. But that being said, of all the Disney films
It's
to
Pete's
remake,
Magic.
Pete's Dragon?
Pete's Dragon.
Yeah,
Not Peach.
I said Pete.
You said Peach Dragon.
Pete's Dragon.
Okay, you sound,
Enunciate the Pete.
he keeps sounding like he's saying Peach Dragon.
I want to
No,
drink a
he's
peach dragon.
green.
Should I say it Thor more times?
1, 2, 3, Thor.
Yeah. No, it's not like Beetlejuice. You can't say Pete's Dragon 3 times, then it appears. It doesn't work that way.
Stomp, stomp, stomp.
Oh, no.
But yeah, of all the Disney properties to remake, this is a very, very obscure one. Like, I remember, I heard the name, and then I had to look it up, and I was like, oh, I remember that now. Like, it's not anything I remember from my childhood. I was like, why? I mean, this isn't like remaking Alice in Wonderland or Sleeping Beauty or Beauty and the Beast or Cinderella. Those are names that everyone knows, and you can get people in on those names, you know? Pete's Dragon,
It's
why?
our parents who would know it.
Right.
Not, I mean, us. We're like at the end
Right.
of the people who know about
Right,
it.
right.
Yeah.
I agree. And you know what this reminds me of? It reminds me of Disney trying to remake The Lone Ranger. I
Right.
mean, you might know of the name, but kids don't care about The Lone Ranger. I do, because I actually watched it growing up with Clayton Moore and all the old classic, spaghetti westerns and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
I watched those, and I loved them. But,
Then they stopped.
Well,
Went
yeah.
off the air.
right. and
Disappeared.
And the only people who would know about it are people who are either really nostalgic for that stuff or really, really elderly people. Like,
Yeah.
no one would care about The Lone Ranger. And Disney just fouled up on that. I get an air of that with this. It's like, Disney, does anyone know about this story? I don't think anyone, holds this in the same light as, as like the Disney classics. They don't hold it in the same light as Snow White or Cinderella or Alice in Wonderland. It's not one of those classics. It just isn't. I'm sorry. And
Maybe we're finally getting to the bottom of the Disney reboot barrel. We're getting to the dregs of properties that they haven't rebooted
maybe that may be.
So does
But if
that mean
that's the
after
case-
we're done, we get new stuff?
right? But if that's
before. Why
the
would
case-
you think something as
Round
insane
3
as that?
reboot.
Yeah,
But-
exactly.
Start from the top again, guys.
Oh, God.
But-
no.
You might have just beat me to my next story. But
Uh-oh.
hold on.
No.
I'm just gonna finish this off. If that's the case, Will, where's our Black Cauldron reboot? Or where's our Sword in the Stone reboot?
Hey, I like Sword in the Stone. All right.
Oh no, so did I.
That was great.
Black Cauldron is okay.
Why don't we make modern versions of that?
Fox and the Hound?
Fox in the Fox in the Hound.
Flox and the Hound.
Fox in the Hound.
You're a
They
drunk.
made more than one Fox in the Hound.
Oh, they did.
They made 2 of them.
And
Oh,
the
wow.
it was a straight to VHS sequel.
I think so. I mean,
And
they
it
made
was
like 2 or
terrible.
3 Little Mermaids.
Straight to VHS.
I think
Yeah.
there's 3 Cinderellas.
Oh, there is.
What?
No. Yeah.
Oh yeah, there's
the other
three Cinderella movies.
The other Cinderella story is about one of her evil stepsisters trying to find love. I shit you not.
That's the third one, I think.
Yeah. And they're trying to make her like a sympathetic character. I'm like, do you remember how bad she fucking treated you in the first movie? And now she's trying to be a protagonist? You can tell they really toned down all her ugly features. Like how the evil stepsisters in Cinderella are fucking hideous. Like, they're really, really ugly. And in the sequel, she's like much softer like tones, and you could tell like they spend a lot of time animating her to make her look really good.
Right.
I'm like,
they're like, let's make her only kind of ugly.
Yeah.
Well, come on, guys. Anybody can have redemption, okay? Anybody can be redeemed, right?
She can be redeemed, but why do you make her look fucking different? Like, are you saying ugly people can't find love?
Well, we're
That's
talking about
after
Disney.
plastic surgery.
Yeah, everybody knows that. I mean, come on.
It's not about the personality. It's all about looks. Disney.
Bam! Teach your kids that.
Yeah. But this movie, the Pete's Dragon, not Peach, is slated to be released August 12th of 2016. So it's basically a year and a half away.
Oh, super. I'll try and, keep that suspense down.
Yeah.
I'm so excited.
I mean,
don't you know?
I hope it's okay. I do, but it's just a very, very obscure thing to remake. I just don't get it. But
I really think Will's onto something. We're at the bottom of the remake barrel.
Yeah. I think you're right, too.
Time to toss everything back in.
But you had mentioned that maybe we're going to a third round, which leads me to our next story. Which is... yeah, and staying in the reboot corner for just a little bit longer.
No.
It is that plans are underway for a Halloween reboot.
Because why not?
Why not? Aren't there like 8 Halloween movies anyways?
There are 10.
Oh, I'm sorry. I underestimated.
There are 10 Halloween
When did we get
movies.
into double digits? When did this happen?
And this will be what, 11?
This would be 11.
Oh.
Yep. Now, and that's including the Rob Zombie films, because there were 8 in the original canon that went from Halloween to Halloween Resurrection, which was bad, and then it was rebooted or remade, if you will, to Rob Zombie, to Halloween and Halloween 2. Mm-hmm. And now it's getting another reboot. But
third time's the charm.
But here is why I was going to cover this story. Originally, I was just like, okay, whatever. They want to make another one. No big deal. But here's why I want to cover it. And I'll just read off the story here from Hollywood Reporter. Plans are underway for another Halloween film coming into focus. Brings word that Marcus Dunstan and Patrick Melton, who are screenwriters for the latter 4 films in the Saw franchise, and they've been hired to, and this is the studio's words, they have been hired to recalibrate the series. The studio is using this term because they are trying to avoid terms like remake, reboot, and reimagining. So the industry knows now that they are rebooting too much, and they're coming up with new terms for reboots. So for them, this isn't a reboot, it's a recalibration. And that's what they put out in the press release. Recalibration.
Oh, semantics.
Are you fucking kidding me?
So are they recalibrating Pete's Dragon?
Yes.
And
they are.
Spider-Man?
Yes, it's a recalibration.
And all the other movies that are coming out?
Really? Fucking really.
Recalibrated?
Recalibrating. You have got to be shitting me. If you want to just make a reboot, make a fucking reboot. Reboot it a third time, fine, whatever. But call it a fucking reboot. Give me a break.
No. We can't call it a reboot.
No, it's not.
Our publicist said that's a bad word to say.
Because obviously
That's
people
right.
are getting sick of reboots. I wonder why.
Yeah.
So now they're doing this again with these 2 screenwriters who, I don't know if they're any good or not. They worked on the Saw franchise, and that got pretty lucrative towards the end. But,
I didn't even watch any of them. I was like, no, I'm good.
But basically, he was saying that they're excited for this, and they're calling it number 11, which tells me maybe they're keeping it canon to the original series, or they just want to call it number 11. I don't know. But
that's why it's being recalibrated.
Yeah, so it's not
rebooted,
right?
Because it's number 11.
It's number 11.
Not 1C.
1C.
It's 11.
Our Halloweens go up to 11.
So, I'm at a loss for words. The fact that the studio is so moronic that they think that they can call it another name and that we don't know it's a reboot is so moronic. That's like, do you think that moviegoers are just that fucking dumb? Do you really think that? It's like, if you come up with another Halloween, no matter what you call it, if it's a new premise, they're going to say it's a fucking reboot.
Oh, yeah.
Everyone's going to call it a fucking reboot. And if you come around
No,
and say...
no, it's a recalibration.
I'll recalibrate your ass, you son of a bitch. Come on now.
Hi. He's getting surly. Watch out.
God.
I know, right? He's getting agitated.
No, I'm getting... This
Choke
shit,
that mic!
no, this shit pisses me off. Because, I mean, you rebooted it with Rob Zombie. Okay?
Yeah.
And the first one, it was okay. The second one, I hated. And I was like, okay, leave it alone. Can we just not touch Halloween for a while? If you want to remake it 20, 30 years down the road, fine. Go ahead. But leave it alone for a bit. Let Michael Myers rest in his grave. Enough said. It's like, no, we have to milk that Halloween teat just a little more, get a little more milk out of it during this time period, and let's just, oh my God, I can't even talk.
Let's just recalibrate it.
Yeah.
Because that's what we do.
Yeah,
We recalibrate. We don't reboot. No, we recalibrate. I'm telling you, they had some PR rep go through, poll people, and say, which is the least offensive word?
That's right.
Reboot, remake, recalibrate.
Or reimagine.
Or reimagine.
Because reimagining has been used by certain studios, too. Oh, it's a reimagining. Imagine my fist in your face, you son of a bitch.
Mike would not be on the panel
No.
to make the vote.
They drag him out of the room.
Yeah, they would
What
kick
would you
him
call
out.
it? Reboot? Remake? I call it bullshit.
Sir, that is not one of the options. Please pick from the options you have been provided.
Just put everything. Other. But anyway, on to our last bit of movie news. I debated including this, and I might end up cutting this from the podcast if we get too angry about this.
Oh.
Yeah, I know. And we're already angry, but we end up cutting this.
I was going to say,
He's
more
like
angry?
expecting hostilities
Right.
here.
Yeah.
But the press release from Fox 2000 is, pack your bags for Alvin and the Chipmunks 4.
Really?
I mean, I'm not angry. I'm amused.
Really?
Really?
Because that's just like, what?
Right.
What?
Right.
Do you know what's funny? The kind of funny story. Nate and I, we were
You were watching these?
no.
I'm about to say, don't you tell me you were
were
watching these.
We were thrifting we were looking for a cabinet for something and other just miscellaneous things. And I'd never gone like thrifting, and I was like,
Oh,
dude,
it's a good time.
it's actually like a little crazy. Some of these
Yeah.
people are a little nuts. I mean, there's
it's
like
surreal.
circuit that people do, and I'm like, I didn't know this was like a way of life. They're
Yeah.
like, he was like, oh, you better watch out.
It's a thing.
They had at this one place, they had like the chipmunk and chipettes glassware.
Ooh.
Oh,
And
nice.
I was There was glassware.
Yeah.
I mean, this is like
Yeah.
old glassware from like original chipmunk chipettes.
Wow.
Like
That's
the
worth something, probably.
chipmunk chipette movie,
Yeah.
not like
Oh,
the remake.
You mean the balloon race movie?
yeah, the balloon.
Oh my God, that movie!
The
I watch it
Chipettes-
now.
The Chipmunk Adventure.
Right, I watch it
Have
now.
it on
it's,
VHS.
It's nostalgic, but it is bad. It's really
I
bad.
loved it as a kid.
Oh no, so
I
did
realize
I.
how bad it is and how actually really depressing some of the songs are now.
it
And I'm
really
like,
is.
how did I not cry during this movie?
To get off on a side tangent here about this, I do want to talk
Because
about
we don't
this movie.
digress.
No, we don't digress ever. But I do
Ever,
want to
never.
talk about this.
No.
I remember watching it. It was either on Cartoon Network or something about 2 or 3 months ago. And I was watching it, and they didn't cut a whole lot, which I'm glad, because I'm glad they
Wasn't
left
that
a lot
long of a
in.
movie.
But I'm sitting here thinking about, the plot of this movie. So they decide to have this race, boys versus girls, around the world in balloons. Like the only craft you can't really control.
I know, right? And you're supposed to hit key locations.
Right. And they think that, these 3 kids are okay in these balloons that you cannot control.
Nor
But
do you have any protection
Yeah,
from the
right.
weather or any of that
Right.
from.
But the subplot of all this is that they're being led into this race because there's these 2, thief barons who are having them smuggle diamonds across the world.
yeah.
Yeah. And I'm like, wait a minute. Who the hell thought that this, possibly the slowest mode of transportation of all time, would be good for transporting your fucking stolen money or drugs or whatever the hell you have?
Don't put the flaws in this movie that I loved and watched all the time
But
when
then
I
as
was
soon
little.
as they start touring the world, it's like every negative racial stereotype you can ever hit. Like when they hit Mexico,
yeah.
yeah, oh my God. It's so offensive.
Oh no.
It's like it's a Mexican blackface. It's like, what is this?
Oh God, he's so funny.
And they go to Antarctica and they go to
Egypt.
Egypt. Oh my God, the Egypt segment.
Oh my God, when you're like,
there, and they're singing.
It's like getting lucky, and I was like, oh my God, they're like not talking about getting like lucky. They're talking about getting lucky, and I'm like, oh my God.
Do you know what they're singing to? They're singing to snakes.
I know.
I'm saying, okay, so you have these 3 girls who are dressed in like harem outfits, singing to snakes. Freud would have a field day with this. I'm like, what the fuck? Who thought of this segment? And I shit you not, it's the 3 chimpettes, and they're dressed up in like, I don't know what you would call it, just harem outfits.
Think of I Dream of Jeannie.
Yeah, I Dream of Jeannie outfits.
I Dream of Jeannie outfits.
And they're singing to the snakes. So I'm
and
like,
they're supposed to be like 10.
Yeah, and I'm like,
oh.
Yeah, right.
I'm like, wait a minute. It's like, you do realize, and the way that they're having the snakes parade around, I'm like, this is so unbelievably like strange and almost phallic. I'm like, it's so bad.
Yeah, but there's a scene where she's like, and y'all can't see this on the other side, but she's like this seductive
they
look.
give like seductive
and I'm like,
looks to the snakes.
Oh, I didn't really realize that was really that. Like, seeing it now as an adult, I was like, oh, wow.
Yeah.
This is a totally different movie.
Right. Oh, my God.
None of this is okay.
No, it's not. It really is not.
I was like, how did we grow up with this?
Yeah, and I'm like,
stuff
what kind
of be booked up?
Right. And I'm sitting there, I can only imagine, young little Alison saying like, oh, I'm going to dress up in that outfit and sing the snakes.
Wait a minute. That's why she got in with the snake charmer.
Oh!
I am a
Now
snake
I get it.
charmer.
It's all explained.
With the Chipmunk Adventure. Explains my life.
Oh, God.
If we ever go back to our house and we find an I Dream of Jeannie outfit, we know everything.
I should just get one just to put in my house, just to fuck with you guys.
Damn it.
She's thought of everything.
Nate, I got an I Dream of Jeannie outfit. Be
Dun,
like,
dun, dun,
we're going to put on the Chipmunk movie. We're going to do this.
But yeah, that movie, I mean, look, I'll watch it just for nostalgic value, but it's bad. It's really bad.
Yuck.
I mean, and if Alison, if you like it, it's okay. I know because
I think it has a totally different meaning for me now, but I can't hate it. It's like Pippi Longstocking.
Oh no, I don't hate it.
It's not the greatest movie, but I will watch it anytime it's on.
I don't
just
hate
like the
it.
Goonies. I'm like, this is not a really great movie, but
Oh,
I
no.
still love the Goonies because I grew up on it.
I love the Goonies, and even though I know it has tons of flaws, I don't love the Chipmunks Adventure. But I'll watch it for nostalgic value, just because I'm like, oh my God, I grew up
It's my
with
childhood.
This. Yeah, it's my childhood. But anyway, we digress a lot. So
No,
let's get back on this. So yes,
What did we start out with?
Alvin and the Chipmunks
the 4th
4.
Chipmunk movie. Yeah, that's where it all started.
So then the
had to
report
come
here
back
it
to
says, in the fine
let's
tradition,
just skip it.
Yeah.
in the fine tradition of the Squeakquel and Chipwrecked. Yeah.
Oh my God, I forgot that's what they called them.
Yep. Fox 2000 has revealed a puntastic subtitle for the 4th big screen adventure of Alvin the Chipmunks Adventures.
Dun, da, da, da.
Get
It
ready.
is.
Get ready for Alvin and the Chipmunks, the Road Chip.
Oh, I don't feel so good.
Oh my God.
I don't feel
Wow,
so
really?
good.
That's
The
what
Road Chip.
Oh.
Yes.
that's what they came up with?
Yeah.
Wow.
At least the Squeakquel was kind of cute.
No, I hated that. Because
I thought it was creative.
but
It's a-
you weren't
it's a
I
working,
didn't say it was
pun. It's a
great, but I
better
thought it was
pun.
you weren't
kinda
working at the
cute.
theater where every kid the whole time walking around was going, the Squeakquel, the Squeakquel, the Squeakquel. I will shut your life down.
You're just a joyous person,
I
aren't
know.
you?
He's just such a dreamy joy, man.
So
Such a happy-go-lucky person.
Alvin and the Chipmunks, the Road Chip, is set to drive into theaters on December 16th, 2016.
I wonder what they're going to do. I wonder if they're going to take a road trip or something.
Yeah.
Who knows?
Now, combined, the previous 3 movies, which started back in 2007, have now grossed $560 million domestically and $1.1 billion worldwide.
Wow.
They're doing well. They are doing very well.
Wow.
Now, here's the thing. The last movie actually didn't do too hot. It actually made $100 million less than the previous 2 movies. But even so, they're going to keep milking this.
Oh,
They're
yeah.
making them for relatively cheap. When I say relatively cheap, considering, that they still have to do CG and a decent amount of special effects, considering they're all animated or digitally animated.
What do you mean they're animated?
You didn't know?
What the fuck are you talking about right now?
I'm sorry to tell you all, but the chipmunks aren't real.
They're not. They're not.
They're digitally enhanced. They aren't actually there.
I know you thought they were exposed to gamma rays, but
Yeah, I thought
they're just not as cool as the Hulk. All right.
I thought they were space chipmunks that that came down, and they had a dad that was a human, and he took them in. And
look, while we're on this, I think I need to tell you about the Tooth Fairy.
Don't tell them about the Easter Bunny. It's too much.
oh,
Definitely not about.
you guys are
Santa.
funny. I know they're real. Come on. All right, let's talk about something else, maybe.
So yeah, look, I don't work at the theater anymore. I don't have to see this. One of my last days at the theater is actually, I'm pretty sure, Shipwrecked had just come out. Yeah,
Shipwrecked.
yeah, Chipwrecked. God, I feel like I lose a brain cell every time I say that.
Go chip yourself.
Yeah, go chip yourself.
He's a chip off the old block.
Oh,
But
I appreciate it.
I don't know what to say. I don't have to watch it, but I'm like, can you just leave it alone? Just enough, please.
no, they're making money. They're not going to leave it alone. You know
the
that.
almighty dollar.
Yeah, that's how it goes.
If in the next month I hear about Smurfs 3 or something, I'm driving to Hollywood myself.
Oh,
Like,
right. They
All
did
right,
make
you
a
heard it
Smurfs
here,
too.
everybody.
Yeah, and Smurfs 2 was god awful.
So Smurfs 3 comes out. You're going for
He's going for blood.
a little trip.
The men in white coats will come get me.
Ooh.
Yes.
They're coming to take him away.
Ha ha ha.
Oh, ha ha! hee.
Nice. Thank you, gentlemen, for knowing that reference.
To the funny farm.
Yeah. So, do you guys have any other news you want to bring up before we get into the trailers? I mean, a lot of the movie news I know this week was kind of depressing. It's just remakes and terrible sequels coming up. I mean, the Spider-Man news was good news, but, what are you going to do? But we are going to get into the trailers. First one up we have is In the Heart of the Sea.
Do you have a family?
We're going home.
Say it! Say it! Say you're scared!
I will not.
I'm excited for this. There hasn't been a whole lot of press for it, despite the fact that it only comes out in like a month or so. And it's coming out a weird time of year for this kind of movie. But
It looks like it's going to be like some kind of limited release because they haven't really been doing a lot of advertising for it. That's how I kind of feel because I'm like, I should be seeing like these ads if it's coming out that soon.
Well, true, but something with these kind of actors and with the director, it's not going to be a limited release.
Okay.
If it was something that was trying to get in for Oscar season, then maybe it'd be a limited release. But I don't think that's the case.
Okay.
This will maybe be a medium release, not a nationwide release. You won't get it in every theater, but you'll get it in most theaters, I think. Yeah.
Okay.
But that being said, let's discuss this movie. So the director is Ron Howard, and Ron Howard is probably one of my favorite directors.
Yeah.
I enjoy a lot of his movies. I mean, just to name a few, I mean, he did Cocoon. In the trailer, they advertised Apollo 13, which is probably my favorite space movie of all time. I adore Apollo 13. I grew up on that movie. Like, I remember watching it, I was like 7 or 8, and I'm like, I want to go into movies. Like, this, I loved it. Like, that and Jurassic Park.
Right.
And
Sold.
right.
Yeah.
So, and just the performances in that. It was a shame that it didn't win more at the Academy. I was like, all the performances, all of the visuals, the visuals hold up to this day. That's the amazing thing about Apollo 13. Go back and watch it. It's 20 years old, and the visuals are still amazing.
I'll have to do that.
Yeah. But he also did A Beautiful Mind, for which he won the Academy Award for Best Picture. Great movie. So yeah, Ron Howard, I look forward to a lot of his stuff. And in this, we have Chris Hemsworth, of course, straight off of his Thor Legacy right now. We also have Cillian Murphy, and I'm a huge fan of Cillian Murphy.
Yep. Great actor.
Yep. And we also have Benjamin Walker, who is in the most recent Abraham Lincoln Vampire Hunter. He played Abraham Lincoln in that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I did not pick up on that.
Yep. He looks. He looked like he gained a little weight since then. It's hard to tell, but he didn't look like the same actor from Abraham Lincoln. But
Yeah, because Abe Lincoln was like a beanpole.
yeah. But yeah. I didn't see that. Ben saw it, and Ben thought it was okay. So I don't know about this, but this is actually based off of a nonfiction book of the same name. Now I say nonfiction. The events of this tell the story of the ship called the Essex, and the Essex, for all accounts, was attacked by a giant sperm whale. Some accounts are sketchy because not too many people survived, but they say that the ship, a whaling ship, was attacked by a sperm whale and destroyed. Certain accounts have it ranging from 50 feet to 200 feet long.
Okay.
They don't really know. But this was the story that inspired Moby Dick.
Right.
And in this, I think we're getting the rendition that they think would inspire Moby Dick. We see this sperm whale, and it's the giant white sperm whale, and it's like 200 feet long.
Yeah.
Oh,
It's huge.
It looked like it was bigger than the ships.
Oh, it was massive.
Yeah.
I would go as far as to say maybe not even 200. I would say maybe 400, 500 feet long, this thing. Like, it could bite a ship in half.
Right.
I feel like it did.
Yeah. Like, look at like
I think it
was able to
actually
hold
like just
one in its mouth.
shot
Right.
up out in the trailer, and I was like, I think the first time I saw it, I was like, this is Moby Dick. Fuck in the heart of the sea. This is fucking Moby Dick, man.
Right. But if you did Moby Dick, it would be a fictionalized account.
Right.
Right.
You
No,
know?
but I'm just saying, like, that's the story. Like, as soon as I saw the whale, I was like, this is totally, like, Moby Dick. This is the sperm whale. This is the ship. I'm like, oh, this ship is going down.
It's fucked. Yeah.
And then I think that's when it, like, came out and was like, oh, yeah. There she glows.
Yeah. So I gotta say, I feel like they're going the route of this instead of just saying, oh, we're gonna make Moby Dick, which I'd be fine with. But I think they're going this route because they can attach that, based on the incredible true story tag on it. Because as soon as you do that, people are far more intrigued.
Yeah.
But a lot of things are based on true stories, and they can elaborate all they want. You know. But this is based off a nonfiction book, which was based off of accounts that could have been fudged. So a lot of things are going to be, grandiose in this that maybe weren't that grand when it actually happened.
Of course.
But, it's going to be Hollywoodized. But that being said, the visuals in this look amazing. I think Ron
they
Howard has a
do.
really good eye for, certain shots.
Definitely.
And,
I liked some of the shots, the color palette that.
oh,
he
yes.
used.
I
Really
love
nice.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was almost like he like desaturated some
Yeah.
shots just to make it seem more eerie, but then others were just
Vibrant.
vibrant, and it was like bam.
Yeah,
Right. And he has a very good eye for that. One of the things that this trailer doesn't talk about is the aftermath. I hope I'm not spoiling anything with this, but one of the things that occurs with this is that this was one of the earlier cases that people discussed as far as cannibalism. And because these men, after their ships are attacked, they are lost at sea for a long, long time. Now, I won't say what happens after they're lost at sea or anything like that. I won't say anything about that. But this is one of the few cases of people, debating cannibalism, in a situation like this. What do you do? We have nothing, and how do we survive? Apparently, the book dove into that a lot, like it pretty gruesomely.
Right.
So I don't know if this movie is going to do that. That's going to be really fucked up. But I kind of hope they do, because that would be so dark and gritty, and I would love something like that in film.
Yeah.
They don't have to, stay on it for 40, 50 minutes, but that should be touched on. That I hope they don't just, breeze that by and say, oh, they landed on an island and they didn't have to do that. It's like, no, that should be touched on because that's dark and that actually happened. You know?
Yeah. I mean, like you said, it actually happened. That's how people have survived these kind of events in history. That just happens.
All right. So all this being said, with the actors, with the director, I'm looking forward to this.
Yeah.
This is looking very, very promising.
Me too.
I hope they just didn't show all the good parts in the trailer.
And I was dreading that.
I always think.
I was
whenever
trying that-
Then
see a
again, I was
trailer.
like, you know what? I was like, some of the parts in the trailer weren't like, wow. They were just like stringing you in to just draw you in a little bit more.
right.
Not just like throw every awesome thing at you. It was just like, this is not going to just be fight. This whale is just eating a whole ship.
Right.
It's going to be other things too.
Now, this one thing I noticed, and you guys can debate this with me or not, but I thought it was a little weird that in the trailer, whenever you heard someone talking, it wasn't, except for like one case, it wasn't actually them talking in that moment. Like, you know, it wasn't like they were showing a scene and that person was saying something within that scene. It was always a voiceover.
Well, I feel like trailers do that a lot.
Oh, they do. But even in parts where someone was talking and it cut to Chris Hemsworth, he was still doing a voiceover. He wasn't, like, reacting to the person in front of him. Right. He was just doing a voiceover. I'm like, why? Why is he constantly giving a voiceover? Which has me a little worried. And it leads me to think maybe there aren't some good performances in this. Because if you're not having your actors act, if you're not showing them performing in the trailer, maybe they aren't giving a good performance.
I don't know. I didn't get that sense. I get more of it, them just using that as to create, that dramatic effect.
And that could be the case.
Like the storytelling effect.
Right.
I'm sucking you in. Right. Come see me.
You've been saying sucking me in a lot.
Because I was eaten by a snake.
You were being sucked in.
There's the PTSD coming out. It's going to be okay. You're with friends. It's going to be okay.
What, did you learn snake speak when you were in the snake? What the?
It's called parcel tongue.
Okay, you're learning parcel tongue while you're in the snake. Okay.
Oh,
all right. Quidditch is not real. It's not a real sport. Parcel tongue is.
Real nice.
Oh.
Parcel tongue is real.
Well,
don't argue.
Okay. Or you'll sick a snake on me.
I will sick a snake on you.
So, moving on to our next trailer, which is Home Sweet Hell.
I'm glad that you could come here, our house.
You cannot be here.
Come on, I'm pregnant.
Oh my god, I think I'm gonna be sick.
You have to tell Mona.
I really messed up. Can we talk about this?
Guess there's only one thing to do. You have to kill her.
Why is this so easy for you?
Do not get weak. You put something in my drink. Get her in the trunk.
Oh no, she's alive!
What do we do?
Oh, maybe we should just let her go.
Really?
No, get a hammer.
Very.
I don't know.
First off, I was saying this to Will a little while ago. Both Will and I saw Gone Girl. Yeah. And I have to say, if you were going to make a romantic comedy version of Gone Girl, this would be it. This would be a perfect comedy version of it.
Yeah.
Because I forget the actress's name, but in Gone Girl, but I could see her doing like this Katherine Heigl performance.
Right.
Like this is like dead on her. Just have her put on the plastic suit and pull out a couple chainsaws, and she's good to go.
Pretty much.
Oh man. But anyway, the director of this is Anthony Burns, and he actually doesn't have a whole lot to his name. He directed a film a few years ago called Skateland, but he doesn't really have a whole lot under his name. So
never even heard of that?
Yeah. I never heard of it before. So this is basically, I hate to say this, a no-name director. It's not his directorial debut.
He's working on it.
Right. It's not his directorial debut, but he's had a few things, but he's not done anything notable yet. This is his first big release, from what I can tell.
He just needs to hook up with Marvel.
Now, in this, we have Patrick Wilson. Not the biggest fan of his, but he's all right. We also have Katherine Heigl, and I gotta say, I am not a fan of hers.
I love her. She's just funny.
But I don't think she's funny at all. Here's the thing. For a long time...
Okay, that pretty much gets the spectrum right there.
Look,
I like her. I think she's cute. She's cute. She cracks me up.
For a long time, she kept making the same movie.
Yeah,
and the same performance in every movie. Now, if you like that character, fine. The only time I ever liked her was in Knocked Up. And everything
I haven't seen that in a long, long time.
Yeah, well, that came out in 2007, 2008, something like that, with Seth Rogen.
I never saw it.
And she was good in it because she was playing the same character, but it was a far more subdued version of that character. Mm-hmm. And I was okay with that. But every other time I'm like, you're good at one role, and I really don't like that role.
You're such a boy.
No, sorry. But anyway, in this, I gotta say, she's playing a different role. She's playing a psychopath in this.
Pretty much.
Pretty much the wife from Gone Girl. Sorry.
Overbearing woman.
I don't know if she's overbearing just so much as very, very planned. Like, everything she does is set on a schedule. Like, from the very beginning, you say, like, we will have sex on Tuesday. You know?
Today's not Tuesday.
Right. I don't think that's controlling just so much as we need to stick to this and stick to that. Now, I mean, you could say, yeah, she's controlling. I just feel like she's one of those people, and it's hard to say just from the trailer, but you look at her and she's so cold and calculated that everything has to be planned out in her mind. Simple as that. And if something deviates from that, she'll just fucking snap, which is what happens in this.
Yeah.
It's twisted. It's
Right?
awful.
It is.
It is twisted. That I was like,
It's just
she's
awful.
so good at being like twisted and yet just. Well,
Yeah, cold and
we're just gonna
calculated.
have to kill him.
Exactly. And also in this we have
yeah.
we also
Okay.
have
Sure.
Right.
I kill him.
and
What
also
else
in
are we
this
gonna do
we
on
have
Saturday night?
we have Jordana Brewster, who is you may know her from the Fast and Furious franchise.
Okay.
That's the only real thing I know her from, but she's all right in that. And we also have Jim Belushi, which I haven't seen him in anything recently, but
No.
who doesn't like Jim Belushi? You know,
Yeah, Life According to Jim. Good stuff.
never watched it.
Okay, then.
Sorry. But before I get into any complaints I have about it, let me go through what this trailer is about, or what the movie is about, because some of our listeners may not have seen this trailer yet. So to give a brief synopsis of what happens in this trailer, we have this guy, Patrick Wilson, who is obviously pretty stressed at a job, and his wife is pretty cold, like she never wants to do anything with him. Everything's very planned out. And he meets a girl at work, Jordana Brewster, who is basically just instantly falls in love with him, basically just throwing herself at him, saying very sexual things. And even Jim Belushi's like, oh yeah, we need some eye candy around the office, which, by the way, what fucking boss would say that?
Unfortunately.
What boss wouldn't say that?
Yeah, unfortunately.
Okay, yeah, fine. But what I'm saying is, it's like, if you
Boy,
worked
we made him cave real fast.
Yeah.
no, what I'm saying is, if you worked
Listen
in
to
an-
the consensus of the room. Listen to...
if you worked in
You
an
will
environment,
conform.
if you worked in an environment where your boss was saying, okay, hire her because she looks good, I mean, like, what the fuck, dude? You
I'm
know?
not saying it's a good environment. I'm just saying it's an environment that has hired a lot of people.
That still goes on as we speak.
Yeah. Sorry, I guess I was just trying to play the role of the fangirl there for a second.
Don't you do that. You cannot do it. Do not try.
But anyway,
Fangirl needs to defend it herself.
That's right.
so anyway,
Miss you, fangirl.
of course, these two end up hooking up, and she ends up being pregnant. Well, Patrick Wilson's like, look, he goes to his wife and confesses, like, okay, we need to take care of this. And she's like, well, I guess there's only one thing to do. We have to kill her. Because, yeah, that's rational.
It doesn't fit in with her plan, therefore
Kill
it
her.
must die.
Right.
Worked for Othello. I mean,
Yeah, sure, yeah.
Oh, wait. No, it didn't work out for him. Never mind.
So they go through this elaborate plan of, them having, trying to poison her, and she realizes she's being poisoned, but then she wakes up, and, jokes ensue. But here's the point of the trailer where I got confused. It looks like it got very busy in a hurry. You know what I'm talking about? Like, all of a sudden it
Yeah.
has to deal with people trying to find this girl, and then he's trying to do drugs, and he's trying to run from them, and then they're threatening him, and then another cop comes in, and it's like, the story got very busy. It's like, you had me for a little bit.
Yeah.
With the psychotic wife, the cheating, and her getting pregnant, and then her trying to kill the other woman.
Right.
I'm in there. But then all this other stuff comes in. I'm like, what the hell's going on now?
And suddenly, who was it? Kevin McKidd is there.
Right.
and
I'm like-
there's cocaine usage.
Right,
And
I'm like,
I didn't get any of
What the fuck's going on?
At that point, I was like, huh.
Yeah, it got very, very
Okay.
busy. And I'm afraid they're trying to
I'll
throw...
roll with it,
Right.
but we'll see.
And it only has me thinking one of two things. Either one, the movie just going to get way too busy because they thought they didn't have enough, plot for this, and they had to throw in more stuff. Or they're going to go the route of Katherine Heigl ends up being, like an anti-hero and ends up trying to defend her husband and killing a bunch of other people to defend him.
I'm feeling kind of like that's what it's going to
Probably.
it.
Right.
We can only hope.
Right. Well, I don't know if I have much hope for this movie. That's my only problem. I look at this and I'm like, okay, I can see what you're going for and what the draw is, but I've already seen Gone Girl, and I don't know if I need a comedy version of Gone Girl.
No, not really.
You always need a comedy version
Yeah.
because it's not a reboot.
Right.
Oh,
It's recalibrated.
It's recalibration, right. I can't say I'm looking forward to this, but I do want to say this, though. This movie is actually available on demand right now.
Oh.
The on-demand came out a month and a half before the actual movie's release. It came out on February 3rd.
Wow. Is that happening more often now?
I don't think so.
Maybe they screwed up.
Yeah.
I don't know.
And they're like, oh, shit.
Right. It's like,
Well, it's out there now.
right. So it's like, it's available on demand right now if you want to go see it. And I'm like, that's a very, very odd marketing plan.
Yeah.
Like, I know there are some movies, like most notably recently The Interview, that do a nationwide release and then a video on demand release on the same day.
But that was a little different
And
of a situation.
It was a different situation, but even so, some movies have done that, and it makes sense because they feel like, well, maybe people don't want to go out to the movies to see this.
Right.
And we know people aren't just, we're not that kind of film. People aren't going to want to go out to see us.
Yeah.
So we'll make it more available to them, and sure enough, we'll get more sales for it.
Right.
I get that. I don't know if that's the case with this. Only because I've only seen it marketed maybe in the last month or so. Have you seen any commercials for it? Any TV spots? Anything?
Nope.
So how are you to know if it's available on demand right now?
Right.
You don't. Unless you saw the trailer, you don't know that it's on demand. So this is a very strange move. Yeah.
I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah. It's very, very odd. As far as looking forward to it, I mean, I don't know.
No thanks.
I'm going to say that. No thanks. So moving on to our next trailer, which is Child 44.
They came as fast as they could. There's been a terrible accident. Alexei's son has been hit by a train. A train? He's claiming his son was murdered. I am sure you realize murder is strictly a capitalist disease.
You have to be quiet. There is no murder in this country. There is no murder. Do you understand?
Someone has slaughtered my son! And you do nothing!
The killer is still out there. I have to find him.
I'm coming with you.
Yes.
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 I was like, oh, it's going to be a bunch of kids dying.
Yes.
Yes.
A depressing movie about a dad trying to seek, or like parents trying to seek revenge.
Yes.
And there's no Bruce Wayne. There's no Batman.
It's all right. We've got Gary Oldman and we have Tom Hardy. What more do you need?
Oh, I did see that, and I was
Speaking
like,
of Batman.
There you go. Yeah, wait a minute. Maybe this is all a dream that Bruce is having.
It's a fever dream of one of the characters
Yeah,
in the
Scarecrow
Batman
is
universe.
giving this
That's
to
the
him.
part of the trailer they didn't show you.
Nice.
Oh my gosh, the house gonna blow down, dude.
Yeah, sorry, for those of you who hear the wind blowing, it's like 50, 60 mile an hour gusts outside.
And it's like 10 degrees.
Yeah, it's pretty damn cold.
The house began to pitch. Wait a minute, wait.
And pitch.
And boy, what happened then was rich.
Oh, thanks, guys. Thank you.
Anyway, so the director of this is Daniel Espinosa, who directed Safe House. Now, I don't know if you remember Safe House. It was Denzel Washington and Ryan Reynolds came out a couple years ago.
Nope.
I didn't see it. It looked decent, but it was basically Denzel playing his same role he usually does.
Right.
But it looked all right. But this director has mainly only worked in Swedish films. He's released 4 or 5 different Swedish movies, and then Safe House is his really first big American release.
Huh.
So now he's getting back into American films with this. And in this, we have Tom Hardy, who, of course, we know from Tinker Tailor Soldier Spy, Dark Knight, where he played Bane.
Bronson. It's a film about Charles Bronson. You can look that up. It's on Netflix last time I checked.
Okay.
It's a little twisted, a little
Netflix.
disturbing.
That's our little plug right there.
Yeah.
Netflix.
If you like his man parts, you get to see them flopping around a little bit.
Oh, boy. Great.
Yeah. Yeah, I've watched it
Are
twice.
they nice?
It's pretty good. Yeah.
Well proportioned package?
I don't know if I'm
Or was it
qualified to
cold?
say that. I didn't ask.
Oh, God. But no, I like Tom Hardy. I think he's a very solid actor.
Yeah, definitely.
And also in this, we have Numi Rapace, however you pronounce her name.
She was the original girl with the dragon tattoo.
Oh, that was her.
Yes.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Oh,
I've never seen the originals.
Which makes sense given the director's work in Swedish films.
Right.
Yes.
It does.
And she was also in Prometheus.
Yeah, she was Prometheus, and she was also in Sherlock Holmes 2, A Game of Shadows.
Yeah.
She played the gypsy in that. Yeah. And I like her. I wasn't a huge fan of Prometheus, and Game of Shadows was kind of meh until the very end when it was amazing. No, I know I've said that a lot, but the ending to Game of Shadows was fantastic. I only wish the rest of the film was that good. But anyway, I thought she was okay in it. And also we have Joel Kinnaman, who was in the RoboCop remake. He played Murphy in that. Of course, we have Gary Oldman.
Yes.
And there isn't anything that Gary Oldman does that I don't
It's like
like.
Gary Oldman.
One of the best character actors ever.
I love this guy.
He just does everything.
Yeah.
Great.
Chameleon.
A chameleon. That's a very good description. A chameleon.
Yeah.
Oh, he's great. You should totally use that in other casts.
Yeah.
When you talk about.
Would you call Daniel Day-Lewis a chameleon?
Somewhat, but I feel like even the spectrum that Gary Oldman has done is even wider. Because, I mean, just think about all the stuff he's done when he was...
Well, I mean, for a while he was just the villain.
Yeah, but then he's been
he's
the villain
branched
from
out.
Fifth Element. I mean, that is out there.
Oh, yeah. He was Dracula.
Yeah, he was Dracula.
He was a terrorist.
Yep.
Air Force One.
The Professional in that.
Yeah. Gordon.
Yeah, exactly.
He was the villain in the Book of Eli.
Yep.
Which he had some weird Southern accent, which is a little odd. Yeah, so as far as this goes, as far as Child 44, the whole premise of this is that it takes place in early 1950s Russia. I believe it was somewhere around there. I
I
forget
think it was
when.
52, 53.
Yeah, something like that. And you have Tom Hardy and his wife. I think his wife is Miss Rapace. And they have a child who ends up going missing and is subsequently found out is murdered. Well, I didn't know if this is the case or not. This isn't pulled from true events, but this may have been the case in Soviet Russia, in that if a murder occurred, they tried to cover it up as much as possible because their belief was murder is a disease of the West. Like, only capitalist societies have murderers.
It's a bourgeois thing to do.
Right, exactly. And in our communist society, in our upheld society, we don't have murderers.
Right.
We just don't have that.
You just have death, but you don't have murderers.
Right. We have oppression, but we don't have murderers.
No, never. No
Right.
murderers. Woo.
Right. So, I don't know if that actually occurred or not, but it seems to me something that could happen. It seems like that would be in line with some philosophy.
Yeah.
But you have this gentleman here who I believe is an MGB officer, a KGB, I forget what they're called.
Well, KGB is what you're referring to. I don't know when that started. But yeah, he's definitely some kind of military intelligence that's looking into these deaths.
Right.
Yeah.
And Gary Oldman is another one.
It seems
and the reference to Child 44 is that there's been 43 children who've either gone missing or have died. And
Mysteriously.
Yeah, and Tom Hardy says,
well, suspiciously.
Right. And then Tom Hardy says, well, mine was 44, so.
Actually, it's not his. It's his friend's.
Is it his friends?
It's
I thought
his
I thought it was his child.
No, it was his
You
friend's.
know, I got the impression it was his child, too.
We can watch the trailer again if you'd like to.
We'll watch it
No,
again
I mean,
after
I
this
could have
if
been
you want.
wrong.
And you bring up the whole fever dream of Dark Knight Rises,
Right.
but I couldn't help it in the middle of this trailer as I'm watching this with Gary Oldman and Tom Hardy sitting there, because all this is occurring in Soviet Russia. I'm like, you think communism is your ally?
Oh, jeez.
You merely adopted it. I was born into it.
Oh, dear. You're having far too much fun. Far too much fun.
Mr. Stalin.
Oh, all right. I'm out. I'm going to drop the mic. I'm done.
Tapping out.
But as far as this goes, yes, I am looking forward to this.
Very much so.
This looks like a really interesting story from a time we really don't look too much into in the West. We don't really, as far as cinema, we don't examine the darker tales of Russia that much.
No.
And we sometimes do, but we do it from a perspective of like an extreme example like Rocky IV, where it's like just the
Russia.
the extremist of what you view as communism.
Right.
This is taking that stance, but a much more human role to it. A much more,
realistic.
A much more realistic view of it. Yeah. And I'm looking forward to that. The performances look strong. The cinematography looks strong. Yep. I like the visual sense of this. It's like we were saying earlier, desaturated, but you can tell it's not desaturated to the point of there's not color in this world, but it's like this is just how it felt. It was just dingy, dark, grimy, and I get that sense. Almost like something from like a newer version of like Saving Private Ryan.
Right.
Like that
where
type
it's grayed
of,
out
right.
kind of, yeah.
And I like that. I really like that.
Yeah.
So I got to say, really looking forward to this. I hope it does well. I hope the performances are good. Odd time of year for this to come out. I think it's coming out in the middle of April, which is an odd time for a movie like this. But, definitely looking forward to it. Alison, anything? Just eh?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
You think you're going to see it? No. You're like, no thank you. Thanks, but no thanks.
She doesn't. No. If Katherine Heigl was in it, she'd go.
Maybe. There's a better chance.
Anyway, so moving on from that, we have Ted 2.
So I got some big news. Tammy Lynn and I are gonna have a baby.
That's awesome. Wait, how do you guys...
We need a sperm donor. What is that? What are you doing?
Getting ready, dude.
What are you getting ready? What are you doing with your hand?
I'm doing this for you, so when I get in there, I can just bust it out.
What, you think you are, a Red Lobster? Hey, Johnny, you did it!
Right here, buddy.
Catch.
What the? Dude, that's somebody's kid. Fight some shit!
Dude, it's in my eyes. I'm blinking it in.
Oh, wait. I'm gonna take a picture and post it on Facebook.
What?
Hashtag Monday.
Help me!
I didn't see Ted 1. I was like, really? You're making a Ted 2? I think I watched Ted trailers, pieces of Ted, and I was like, oh, God, I can't stand this. But I'm not a huge Family Guy fan, so if you're not a huge Family Guy fan, and it's like, I just...
No, here's the thing.
It's this humor that I was just like,
I'm going to say this. If you were saying that about A Million Ways to Die in the West, I'd agree with you. Because a lot of people contend that A Million Ways to Die in the West was basically just an hour and a half of Family Guy jokes. I don't think the same can be said about Ted. Ted was actually a strong, cohesive story that wasn't just a bunch of Family Guy jokes.
Maybe I just saw the wrong parts.
Yeah, and I mean, there was a plot in Ted. It wasn't just a string of stupid jokes. And I enjoyed Ted. I had a lot of fun with it. I don't know if it warranted a sequel, but...
Hey, he's got his teddy bear rights.
But I will say this. With as much money as Ted made, I knew they were going to make a sequel. Because they could have made a sequel and it could make no money and they'd still be in the green. It's like what they did with The Hangover. The Hangover made so much money that they're like, we have to make a sequel.
And then another sequel.
Yeah, another sequel, which was terrible.
There was 3 of them.
Right, and they were all bad.
Yikes. I never saw them.
Good.
I saw the first one.
The first one is the only one you have to see. Hangover 2, it's the same thing.
I might have seen the second one.
Yeah, it's the same thing in another location. Which
okay, so I wasn't just imagining that. I was like,
yeah,
it's like the same thing.
It's the exact same plot in a different location. And even for that, it wasn't bad. It was just lazy. The third one was bad.
Oh, I never saw the third one.
Yeah. Anyway, getting into Ted 2. So we have, of course, returning Seth MacFarlane, who directed and is also starring in this, providing the voice of Ted. We also have Mark Wahlberg returning as the same character. In this, we're introducing Amanda Seyfried, who was not in the first one, but she's playing a lawyer who's going to be representing Ted in this. We also have Liam Neeson, who wasn't in the trailer.
I was going to say, what?
Yeah. Just hold on. Wait for this cast.
Nobody was taken.
Yet.
This movie is going to basically be Cameo the movie.
Okay.
Okay, so I don't know if Liam Neeson is a cameo, but we also have in this Morgan Freeman, Patrick Warburton,
nice.
Sam J. Jones, who was in the first one. Sam J. Jones was the original Flash Gordon.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, they're bringing that actor back for good reason. We also have David Hasselhoff.
The Hoff?
The Hoff is going to be in this.
The one and only.
Yeah. We have Michael Dorn.
Michael Dorn?
Michael
Who's
Dorn.
that?
Worf.
Worf?
I was going to say, I'm like, wait a minute.
Yeah,
Michael
Worf is going to be in this.
Worf?
Yeah.
Wow.
Because apparently
yes, sir, Commander Worf.
Along with a few other actors from Deep Space Nine.
I like DS9.
Apparently, Seth MacFarlane is a huge Deep Space Nine fan.
Wow.
And he's bringing them into this.
Dude, I totally watched that whole series.
It's a good series.
Netflix.
That and the original, or the Next Generation, those two.
Yeah.
Were great.
See, I actually, just because I like those so much, I tried to get into Voyager. But Voyager
I liked Voyager too.
Voyager had some
liked
problems.
Key characters, but they did have some big flaws, and I was like,
Yeah.
really?
Yeah.
Fast forward through that shit.
All right. Finally, on all this, the last one is Tom Brady as himself.
Great.
Super.
Yeah. But, well, Seth MacFarlane's from Boston, or from that area, so of course he's going to have someone from the Patriots in there. Jeez. Or lots of Patriots, who knows?
It's because I won the Super Bowl.
Yeah. Well, funny thing about that is, they won the Super Bowl, and now they're buried under 10 feet of snow. So it's like, oh, looks like hell did freeze over.
Yeah. It's true. Of course, we kept calling the Seahawks where I was. We're like, oh, look at the Ospreys. Because none of us really actually cared about football. We were just drinking and eating nachos.
Yeah, this is actually our first podcast since the Super Bowl. And I got to say, look, I just didn't care about the Super Bowl this year. I couldn't have cared less about either of those teams. There were two teams who had been there enough in the last few years that's like, I just don't fucking care.
Do you know who I rooted for? Team Blue! Guess what? I won. I won. I was way too plastered by that point.
Shoot the puck! Yeah. 3-pointer!
Shoot the dragon.
Dude,
Shoot it.
seriously? There is like commercial break. 20 seconds came off the clock. Commercial break. I'm serious. We were like, dude, we just had a break like 20 seconds ago.
Nah.
What the hell?
They're tired.
Yeah.
I'm like, really? Really?
But, well, we could have a whole...
Katy Perry did more work during her halftime show than those damn football players.
And, you know, I would have watched the Katy Perry halftime show, but I died in a nationwide commercial.
Nationwide
Moving
is on your side.
I could get into a whole discussion about those commercials, but we won't.
No.
Oh, you mean all those depressing
Yep.
commercials?
Yep. But we're moving on. We're getting back to Ted 2. So the plot of Ted 2, if you want to call it that, is that Ted is getting married to his girlfriend.
Big boobs.
Big boobs. I forget. They make a joke of her name in the first movie. I think it's Tammy Lynn is her name, and he's getting married to her. But they want to have a kid. But of course, because Ted is a stuffed animal, he can't have kids unless unless that happens and the kids come out like half furry. That would be
Dude, poop fluff.
Terrible.
Gonna have a nightmare about that.
Well, it turns out that in Massachusetts, where I think this is held, the law has said that he can't be a dad because he's technically not human. I was like, wait, is this the case they make against homosexuals? Because it's a pretty poor case.
Always
You're
has
not
been.
a human.
Yeah, they're not human, apparently. But anyway, so Ted decides to go to court to prove that he is, in fact, not a human being, but that he has the right to raise a kid.
Yeah, that he's a legal human being.
A legal human being, right. Which I don't know how the hell he's going to prove that, but...
Movie magic.
Movie magic, right. Or in this case, stuffed animal magic. Who knows?
Stuffed animal movie
He'll poop
magic.
fluff all over him.
But one of the questions I have in this is, where's Mila Kunis?
Whatever.
She was like, fuck you.
She was a pretty integral part in the first movie, and it's not like, they separated. It seemed to me that everything wrapped up pretty well. So why the hell isn't she in this? Did she have a falling out with Seth MacFarlane, or is that character just off doing something else? It's not explained in this, and that has me a little worried. It's Ted. You shouldn't really be worried about the plot of Ted, but it does. I'm
but
like,
you are.
Are you losing sleep?
Yeah, I'm losing sleep over
He's
where Mila
tossing
Kunis
and
is.
turning.
Mila,
no,
no.
God.
Where are you?
Mila, no.
That's Paul right there.
Oh, jeez.
Paul's obsession with Mila Kunis will never cease.
Apparently.
As far as this goes, I'm going to say I'm looking forward to this because I really enjoyed Ted. I feel like this one is going more the line of Family Guy, where it's like scene, joke, plot sequence, joke, scene, joke, where it's really just segments leading to the jokes, which is what Family Guy is,
right.
And I hope that's not the case with this, but from the trailer, it looks like that's what they're doing.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm burnt out on that, so
A lot of people are.
I don't know if I don't think I'm really looking forward to this one. Will I probably see it down the road sometime? Yeah. Maybe I'll red box it.
I might skim through part of it. Just like Ted.
Right.
Little bit. Maybe I'll eventually see the entire movie.
I think I'd go out of my way to see this. Hopefully it's good. I hope it's not just them, trying to cash in on the Ted name, and that they just needed one more because they made enough in the first one. I hope not. I mean, it could go that route. It could very easily go that route, but
yeah.
I'm hopeful right now. There were some parts of this trailer that had me genuinely laughing pretty hard. I hope it's written well.
Yes.
After, what happened with A Million Ways to Die in the West, I'm less hopeful, but we'll see what happens. Next one up on our list is one that's going to be very topical with what's going on in our country right now, which is Straight Outta Compton.
Spinning records ain't paying none of the bills around here.
What you talking about? I get paid.
$50, Andre. You think that makes you rich?
It's a start.
Hey, Q, what you a poet now?
The flyest one, nigga.
You got them rocks? That horror shit.
You know that's all I do.
I got a cold ass beat.
That hardcore reality rap.
So what you talking about doing?
Cruising down the street in my 6'4".
Hey, that was dope, eh? That shit was dope, man.
You a genius. What's NWA stand for anyway? No whites allowed? Something like that?
No. Niggas with attitudes.
Oh my god, I couldn't even watch the whole trailer. I'm not gonna lie.
Why?
I don't really care about rap. I don't like rap music.
Okay.
I don't really like any of that shit. I'm like, ugh, really?
Fine. If you're gonna say that, fine.
I think I fast forwarded through half of it. I'm like, really? Where's the movie part of this? I'm like, can't you just say this is gonna be a documentary?
Well, no. Wait. Hold on. So you saw the intro with?
I saw the start and I was like, what the fuck is this?
Okay. Did you
is he making me watch?
Did you get to the trailer?
Kind of, yeah. And then I kind of fast forwarded more and I was like, is this a trailer or not a trailer? Am I on the wrong thing? No, I clicked it. This is where I got it from.
Yeah. You have to get past their little intro explaining why they're making it.
Yeah.
And did you get past it?
Yeah.
And so you got to the trailer with them actually talking about the beginnings of NWA?
Yeah.
Okay,
and I was
good.
like, who the fuck is NWA?
You don't remember NWA?
No.
Straight Outta Compton, motherfucker named Ice Cube.
I remember Ice Cube. Oh, wait, was it Ice Cube or Ice T?
Yes.
That depends now, doesn't it?
It was Ice Cube.
In this case, it was Ice Cube.
Ice Cube, yes.
Wasn't he the guy on Law and Order?
No, that's Ice T.
That's Ice T.
Okay, see, I like Ice T, not Ice Cube. See?
But okay, now here's the thing. I'm not gonna say this to try and insult you or belittle you, okay? But
just belittle me. That's
no,
fine.
I'm not.
I didn't finish watching
Come on, bring it on.
Here's the thing.
Just do it.
If you don't like rap, it's not for everyone. I get that.
Yeah.
But what the story is about, what this film is about, is this era in time, and this was a very, very violent time in America's history.
Yeah.
Right around the Rodney King portion was this.
Okay.
I mean, you could compare it to what's happened recently in our country. I don't think it would be unwarranted.
No, there's a lot of similar things happening, unfortunately.
And these were artists. I mean, I call them artists. Some people would just call them assholes. I would call them artists who, in their time, spoke and rapped about what they knew, the only things that they had, and did what they had to. Now, they didn't go the route of, the gangs and the drugs. They made music, and that's to be admired. To do what you have to do, but not go the route of, diving into that part of society. And these guys did that. And they spoke to an entire generation who were so frustrated with that type of authority. And again, even me, I was never really a huge fan of NWA because, I mean, that wasn't me. I was still really, really young when they were popular. I mean, I was 6 or 7 when they were still hitting their big craze with NWA, and even back then I'm sure my parents were like, shun him from this, no nothing. But when I grew up and I learned about what they had done with their accomplishments and what they preached, these guys were risking life and limb just for the sake of what they loved, for music. I mean, some people say what they do isn't music, but I do.
Oh,
you
yeah,
know?
it definitely is. And it's going to be, it's interesting, it's going to be cool to see, the beginnings of how they got started, how they got big,
Absolutely. And now, run down the finer details of this. Directing this, we have F. Gary Gray. Now, he directed Friday. I don't know if you've seen Friday or not.
Not me.
Gosh, back in the day, had Ice Cube in it. Also,
yeah,
Chris
I was
Tucker.
Say, so he did the first one.
He did the first Friday. Yeah,
Okay.
I don't know if he did any of the others. Next Friday or Last Friday or anything like that. I don't know if he did those or not.
Well, that's good. I
also,
feel like that's in good hands then.
He also did the Italian Job remake. I'm torn on that, but I enjoyed it. What?
They remade the Italian Job?
Well, which version are you thinking of? There was the version back in 2003, the Italian Job, and that was a remake.
Jason Statham?
Yeah,
and
that was a remake.
Oh, I didn't realize that was the remake.
Yeah.
Yeah, what was the original of that, do you know?
Okay, well then I like the remake.
Well, the original came out in the late 60s, I think.
Yeah.
And it was called The Italian Job, and it was never really. It was a good movie, but I enjoyed the remake. It was just convoluted at times. That is a good way to describe it. But I had fun with it. He also directed Law Abiding Citizen, which I really enjoyed that up until the very end, and that was Gerard Butler and Jamie Foxx, where Gerard Butler had his child, and I think his child had died, and then when the case went to court, some guy got off on a plea, and he went nuts and was like, no, I'm going to get revenge for my family. Ended up stringing up this whole thing of, the court system has failed, and I'm going to destroy the whole system because it's just terrible.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Never saw that one.
It was good. I didn't like that they made Gerard Butler basically into like Hannibal Lecter. He was like a genius. I didn't like that. I liked the idea of him just being a regular guy who was like, fuck the system, it's wrong and it's terrible and I'm gonna get revenge for it.
Yeah.
And then they just made him into a genius. I'm like, no, come on, guys. But this director, he's competent. I like him. Now this is being produced by Ice Cube and Dr. Dre. So they're going to have a big hand in this for obvious reasons.
Which is good.
Right. Now, in the cast, we have Paul Giamatti, who doesn't like Paul Giamatti?
Yeah. Good stuff.
Unless he's in Amazing Spider-Man 2. Sorry. As far as the lead cast, we have Corey Hawkins as Dr. Dre. His only notable film is Nonstop, the Liam Neeson film that came out last year with him being a U.S. Marshal on a plane. Remember that?
Okay.
People keep getting killed.
Yeah.
Right.
And he's getting texts about it. Yeah. This actor is in it. We also have O'Shea Jackson Jr. as Ice Cube. This is Ice Cube's son.
Oh, wow.
And he's playing Ice Cube.
That's cool.
Yeah, I think that's pretty cool. I don't know if he's a decent actor or not. Hopefully he is. I don't know, if he's a good performer, if he can imitate his dad well enough, but we'll see.
I would think
he looks the part,
yeah.
But that's all I can really say, It's great that he looks the part, but can he perform well? Can he actually pull off a good Ice Cube? We will see. We also have Jason Mitchell as Eazy-E, who was in the movie Contraband with Mark Wahlberg. We have Neil Brown Jr. playing DJ Yella, who was in the Fast and Furious and also Battle for L.A. And we have Aldous Hodge as MC Ren, who was on the... He was on the TNT series Leverage. Do you remember that?
I heard of it. I never.
It came out like 2008, 2009, somewhere around there. He was in that. So for the lead cast, except for Paul Giamatti, there's no one really notable in this.
Yeah.
But that's okay. It's about the founding of this group NWA and what it meant to their community, what it meant to music, and the industry as a whole. Because you could argue that without NWA, we would have never gotten, the parental advisory on CDs. We never would have gotten, we never would have gotten the FCC with the way that they are now.
Right.
It
definitely helped that move along.
Oh yes, it impacted not just their industry. You could argue any industry that deals with freedom of speech.
Right.
Because, there's, even in the trailer, you see a reporter saying, you talk about gangs and violence. And he's like, no, it's our art. And we talk about what we see in life. Right. I'm like, and that's the truth. And you can argue against NWA, but, again, I don't necessarily enjoy their music or for what they made, but I appreciate what they tried to do.
Yeah.
You know?
It's not just
the
meant to
idea
be
of
shocking.
It's the idea of saying, I don't like what you're saying, so I need to censor you. It's like, no, there's a right for you to say that.
Right.
You know, and to bring in something more modern, the case in Paris recently with the magazine and publishing pictures, you know, the
Right.
Muslim pictures. You may not like them doing that, but they have an absolute right to do that. And that shouldn't be attacked. What we have here is the reversal of that, with the government saying, no, you can't say that. With the common man saying, no, I have every right to say that. I'm not outright threatening anyone, and that's what's debated in this. They say that they're threatening cops. It's like, no, we're not threatening cops. We're just saying fuck the cops, which, you know, can be debated back and forth as to whether or not that's actually hurting them or not. But yeah, it's a narrative that should be said. And I think, if nothing else, you can say at least they brought up the narrative. At least they say we can discuss this. We can sit down and talk about this. Because without them, no, we wouldn't have that discussion.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting because I don't know. I mean, I know some about the history of them, but it's going to be interesting to see the whole, you know, thing,
right,
how they treat that.
Mm-hmm. And people forget that NWA didn't last that long.
No.
I mean, they were around for maybe 1 or 2 years before all their core members started separating. Ice Cube was only in them for like a year, and then Dre left a couple years after that. And I mean, while they were together, they impacted the industry greatly, but they weren't together for that long.
Right.
I mean, there was even a sixth member. I think his name was like Arabian Prince or something like that. He was only in the group for maybe 5 or 6 months and left.
Huh.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm really looking forward to this.
Yeah.
I'll definitely see this. I'm really enjoying this.
Yeah.
As far as what it has to, and I know it's going to garner a lot of comparisons to what's going on in our society right now, but I have high hopes for this.
Yeah, and I mean, for me, it doesn't take much if it's a movie or documentary having to do with music or musicians and, you know, their beginnings, how they got started. I'm for it. You know.
We couldn't agree more. And we're going to get into our final trailer for the night, which I know Alison has been stewing over for a while, which is Poltergeist.
First things first. Your daughter is here, and she's alive. This development was built on a cemetery. This isn't just a few pissed off spirits we're dealing with. It's a poltergeist.
We just want our daughter back.
The door to their world could close at any moment.
If that happens,
there's no getting her back. I want you all to clear your minds. They already know what scares you.
I was just like, really? Shot for shot? Really? What is this? Let me in? I mean, come on.
Let me in, let the right one in, whatever you want. Yeah, the remake was Let Me In, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
This is like, let me in for let the right one in?
Well, I mean, it's not shot for shot because they don't have a little creepy lady who's trying to exorcise the house.
They did not. And I was like, come on. You copy all this other stuff?
But not her.
Not the creepy little lady?
You couldn't find a female,
you
Peter
couldn't find
Dinklage?
like a short lady to do this?
If not, just get Peter Dinklage to play the role. I'll be fine with that.
Jeez.
But I'm going to save my judgment for this towards the end, but let's get into the finer points of this. Now, Will, you've never seen the original Poltergeist, or you saw it when you were very young,
Yeah,
right?
I've seen it, and I remember a few scenes, but I'm no buff of it like you guys are.
Okay, I think I could safely say for Alison and I, this is one of our favorite movies, right?
I wouldn't say it's my favorite movie, but it's a movie that I know, like, freaked me out as a kid.
So let's get into the finer points of this. Now, obviously, the original came out in 1981, 82, somewhere around there. Had Craig T. Nelson,
Coach, yeah.
Yeah, Coach. I'm sadly spacing on a lot of the other actors' names, but...
Drew Barrymore.
Drew Barrymore was
No.
No, you're thinking of E.T.
Yeah, no. Oh, God.
The actress's name, the mom?
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't remember her name. I'm sorry.
No, and I think the sister did something else, too.
The sister did, and that's the sad thing. Are you talking about the little girl or the older sister?
No, the older sister.
That's the one who passed away after the third movie.
Yeah. Okay.
Or passed away just before the third movie, something like that. Yeah, because that's still a big thing about the Poltergeist curse. I don't know if you've ever heard about that, but then they made Poltergeist. Then they made 2 more movies. The second one isn't that good, but apparently the third one's actually pretty good. I've still yet to see them, but people rumor that there is a curse with this movie, with this series of movies. Very strange things would happen on set, even in the first one, and In the third one, it was revealed that some of the props they had for bones and skulls were actual human remains.
Ooh, yay.
Yeah.
Nice.
And they actually had I don't know if you'd
They
call
probably
him,
dug up a graveyard.
well, no. Well, they had a shaman. They called him a shaman. Come in and basically bless the set.
Okay.
Because they felt that, something had been disturbed. Something had been, screwed up on the set, and they had to, kind of get rid of it. Well, it was at that point, people started getting hurt on set. There were accidents. I know Craig T. Nelson almost died in one scene. I forget what it was.
Whoa.
Like the pool?
That might have been in the second movie. I can't recall. There's a scene where there's this thing with like ectoplasm coming out of his mouth, and he almost like choked on it and died. Yeah. The actress who played the older sister, the daughter, she died.
Making the third movie?
No, not in the movie. She was murdered by her boyfriend.
Ooh.
Yeah. And
that's awful.
Yeah, and there were just very strange things happening with this. And it's like people are like, well, is this series of films cursed? It's odd. And now people are saying, is it going to continue into this remake? No one really knows. And I haven't really heard any comings and goings from the set of this. But a lot of people say, yeah, the original movie was cursed. But
it was pretty freaky.
But that
too had a crazy tree.
It did. And
a lot of people.
Yeah, and people were saying, are they going to have the demonic tree in this? And it looks like they do.
Thank goodness.
Yeah. Well,
gotta keep them trees alive, man.
I don't know if you remember in the first one, there's at one point like the tree comes alive and grabs a little boy and just starts to eat him.
Oh.
Pulls him out of his bedroom.
Yeah, pulls him out of his bedroom and just like a big hole opens up and just starts swallowing him.
Nope, no thank you. No thanks. I'm good.
It's coffins pop out of the pool.
Oh yeah. Like there's just bodies all over.
Caroline.
There are scenes in that are, dark and twisted, but very suggestive too. The scene with the mom rolling around the room, I didn't know this. It was supposed to simulate rape.
Oh.
Like what happens is when she had just dyed her hair, because if you remember when she came out of the whole portal thing, like part of her hair had gone gray, and then there's a scene where she just finished dyeing it and just kind of went to lay down. As soon as that happens, with the kid like screaming in the next room and she wakes up, she starts rolling around the room. But as that's happening, her shirt keeps getting lifted up and her legs keep spreading. Apparently it's the ghosts trying to have their way with her, and they're dragging her around the room.
Huh.
Yeah. I'm like,
yeah, I can see that. I'm like remembering the scene. I'm like, yeah, they are like attacking her.
Yeah. I'm like, wow. Holy fuck. And this was a PG movie. People forget the original Poltergeist was PG.
PG by 1980s, early 80s standards.
Right.
Not like, PG by now, because that would be like PG-13.
Oh, no. Yeah, it'd be... And I was
maybe
saying
R.
I was saying
maybe
this earlier,
NC-18.
This was one of the movies that really garnered the whole PG-13 conversation, because Spielberg really tried to get this movie PG. Because back then, having a movie rated R, you couldn't make a profit on it.
Well, it was PGRR back then. There's no 13. There's no NC-18.
Well, back then there was G, PG, R, and X. You had those four ratings.
Yeah, so there was no 13 or 18.
Right. You either had to go PG or you had to say R and go all the way. Now, he could have done that, but his movie wouldn't have made a profit. Mm-hmm. He was trying to get in, the kids who wanted to see a horror film on the weekend.
Yeah.
So he's like, this has to be PG. And he toned down a lot of the blood, a lot of the swearing to get to that point. And despite that, it's still a horrific movie, But for what it was, I love it. It's still one of my favorite horror films to this day.
It is a great movie to be freaked out by.
Yeah.
You start thinking, you're like, what about this?
This? Yeah. And I put this in the same level as The Ring, as one of some of the few
psychologically crazy movies.
Well, no, non-rated R horror films that scared me.
Oh yeah, The Ring was creepy.
The Ring was PG-13 and scared the hell out of me the first time I saw it.
Really? It was only PG-13?
It was only PG-13. Yeah. People forget that. I think the sequel was rated R, but the original was PG-13. And I'm glad. I'm glad you can still make PG-13 horror films, because the ones that are PG-13 now are just garbage.
Agreed.
But back then, to strive to be at that level and still create a very good horror experience was very difficult to do, which made me love it all the more. So with this remake, we have Sam Rockwell, who I love. You know, there hasn't been few things Sam Rockwell has done that I haven't liked. I don't know if you've ever seen Moon, but it was basically him living alone on the moon.
Huh.
I would highly recommend it. One of the best performances he's ever given.
So how did he get there?
What?
How did he get there?
Well, you have to watch the movie. I don't want to ruin anything for it.
Oh.
There's a lot of
I'll
twists.
watch the trailer.
No. There are a lot of twists and turns in Moon, and I can't really say anything about it. But just watch it. It's very, very good. I mean, he's also done Iron Man 2, which was one of his lackluster performances.
What was he in Iron Man 2?
He was...
he's Hammer.
Hammer, yeah.
Okay, I know exactly who you're talking about.
And he was just special. he was just hamming it up the whole time.
He was Hammer, yeah.
Yeah. But I like Sam Rockwell. I think he's a very solid actor. We also have Jared Harris, and I really, really like him. I don't know what his accent is, but he's the guy who's playing the priest in this, if you remember the trailer.
Yeah, right.
But he's been in The Curious Case of Benjamin Button. He played Moriarty in Sherlock Holmes: A Game of Shadows. I've only really discovered him recently when seeing him in movies, and I love him. I'm like, God, this guy's really good.
Yeah,
and in Benjamin Button, he cracked me up. He was the ship captain, and he was so fucking funny. I was like, I love this character, and I want to see this guy in more movies. So I'm glad they brought him in for this. I want to see the creepy old Cajun woman, but the little Cajun woman, but to replace her with him, okay, I can go for that because I really like him as an actor. Now, the only other actors I want to bring up in this I'd probably be Rosemary DeWitt, who was in The Watch, and I'm trying to remember. I think she was in a film called Rachel Getting Married or something, which won her a lot of awards, but I've never seen it.
No.
Never heard of it?
No, that too.
What?
But apart from that, yeah, that's the only real notable cast members in this, those three. So, about this, you mentioned, Alison, that you think it looks very much shot for shot.
Not all of it, but
Right.
certain shots, I'm like, that is the old Poltergeist.
Right.
I mean, it was like total flashback. I'm like, oh, I remember how creepy it was watching this like old movie. And I'm like, oh,
Right.
okay. So some of those, I was like, all right, maybe this is going to be creepy and good. But I'm like, maybe
Right.
not.
Now, there have been some worries that they're going to try and modernize this too much. Like, I remember I heard one critic saying that, is Carol Ann going to get sucked into a Snapchat? Instead of getting sucked, through a closet or a TV or something. I'm like, that would be terrible. And I
The
pray they
clown
don't
was a little creepy.
The what?
The clown.
Oh,
the clown was creepy in the first one. I was like, and I saw the clown. I was like, oh God, they have a creepy clown again.
But here's the thing.
Like, oh.
In the first one, when I saw that clown, yeah, it was creepy. But in the daylight, you could see a little kid keeping that clown around. It was still a doll. In this,
Yes.
who in the fuck would keep this clown around?
Oh my God.
This thing looks so messed up. I'm like, no kid would keep this in their room ever. This would be keeping Annabelle in your room. Okay, you wouldn't do it. And that's what kind of upset me. First off, I'm like, no, this clown isn't convincing anymore.
Well,
now
I
it just
figured
looks
maybe
way
it looked
too
different,
demonic.
like in the daytime, and like just at night, it became like the construed face.
Okay, now they did that in the original
was.
Poltergeist. You remember when the clown actually attacks the boy for the first time,
Its face is
his
different.
face changes. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I don't think they're doing that with this. Looks like the clown is the same at
Just
all times.
creepy.
Yeah. Right.
24/7, 365.
Right. So,
Okay.
yeah, that's a little off-putting. As far as the others, I do like the scene where she's standing at the closet door and her hair stands up on end.
That was kind of cool. I
That
was
was-
like, all right, that's pretty nifty.
Because there could be a scientific explanation for that, but for all its purposes, yeah, it's probably ghosts. But that's the ghost just being friendly and fun, because initially, if you remember in the first movie, they do that. But they don't go so far as to mimic the exact original scene. They don't stack all the chairs on end. They don't open all the cabinets. They do something original. And that's cool.
Yeah.
I like, okay, let's try and homage the original a little, but, still keep that air of being mystical and fun originally with the spirits. And I like that, and that's one way to go, and that's a practical effect. You just put one of those Tesla coils on like the doorknob, and then the girl gets that hair.
Right.
Like, that's a great little practical effect, and I like that they do that. That is really as far as I would go as looking forward to with this trailer and movie.
Yeah.
Everything else,
I'll wait for it to come on TV.
Well, no. Everything else looks like jump scares. It looks like, and I have to say, the original Poltergeist had very, very few jump scares. Maybe one or two involving the ghost doll, or not the ghost doll, the clown doll.
Yeah, when you like lunged. Yeah.
Right, and some things with the camera crew and things like that. There were no jump scares in the movie, and the best horror films don't need jump scares
because they make it creepy enough where you're like, this could actually happen.
Right, and in this teaser, I counted at least 5 jump scares. Like,
I did not count any.
With the way that the clown moved.
I didn't think about those.
What's that?
I didn't think about all the jump scares.
Well,
I was just like, ugh.
I did.
Ugh.
With the way that the clown moved, and then with the way that like the girl got jerked up towards the end of the trailer.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, it's just jump scares. I'm like, guys, the fuck? This is not what made the original good. The original had very little jump scares. You have to weave an environment. You have to say, oh, look, it's just someone's home, and now it's royally fucked up. Like, you have to do something with this. Don't just say, oh, it's jump scares throughout the house. Come on. And that's the shit that pisses me off. Like, modern storytellers, modern-day horror storytellers have to realize jump scares don't make a good horror film. You can have one or two, but even Spielberg, the best directors, have said you get one good jump scare a movie. That's it. In Jaws, they had one jump scare. You know what it was? The shark coming out of the water lunging at Brody.
I probably jumped at that.
Yeah. And that scared the audience because you only get one jump scare. After that, you don't care about jump scares. You're not on edge anymore. You're waiting for it,
Yeah, you're waiting for the next scare.
Right, and it's not scary. So even Spielberg's like, yeah, you get one a movie.
Make it good.
And make it count. Right. Don't have a cat jump around the corner, or don't have someone look at a mirror and scare themselves in a mirror. That kind of bullshit pisses me off. But a lot of fucking horror directors do that now. I'm so sick of the screeching cat around a corner. God, I'm tired of that. But I'm sorry, I'm ranting. Yeah, I know it's so overused. But it looks like this movie's going with that. Now, it's hard to tell right now, what the final product will be. Sam Rockwell's performance doesn't remind me that much of Craig T. Nelson, but you can tell he's a dad who's been through shit, which is exactly what happened in the original. Like, Craig T. Nelson looked ill. And even in Boss is like, God, you look terrible. Because the dad's just been up for days on end listening to his daughter,
through
crying
the TV.
and talking throughout the house. You know? And Sam Rockwell looks like he's going through some shit, and I like that. He's not just like sitting there looking good, having to deal with this. I can only hope that translates well to the rest of the movie with a good performance. But it's not necessary. It's like enough with the remakes, and I'm tired of having to yell and scream about remakes anymore.
Word did they use earlier?
Recalibration.
This is not a remake, Michael.
It's a recalibration.
We're just upping your dose, Michael. Don't worry.
Don't worry, Michael. Everything will be fine.
I like Poltergeist.
There, better.
Aren't you happier now?
But yeah, I
guess not.
I guess not.
No.
Up the dose.
Yeah. Crap. He's coming too.
Recalculate.
But
reboot.
I'm with you on this, Alison. I'm not looking forward to this. I mean, it just feels like it's a rehashing for the sake of, hey, look, we still have the rights to this name. Let's make something and bank off the name.
Bottom of the barrel.
Right.
Going back to what Will said earlier.
Mm-hmm.
Bottom of the barrel. Time to dump everything back in.
And again, I want it to be good. I'm hopeful, but what was the last horror film remake that was good? Seriously.
Obviously, it was Halloween 10. Because that's why they're making it
Which was really Halloween 2.
No, that was 1B.
Oh, 1B. No, what? 1B is actually 2B. Because think about this. If you're gonna say the original series is 1A, 2A, 3A, 4A, then once it reboots again, it's 1B, 2B, 3B, so on like that. Now the new one is 1C.
Yeah.
See what I'm saying?
Yeah, okay.
And I think we just broke Will's mind.
Too much math.
I thought Halloween just came every October 31st.
It does.
That's what I thought.
Preferably. Not with a new movie, though.
Oh my god, that actually reminds me of something. Do you know that there are some communities that are trying to create a second Halloween on Valentine's Day?
Why?
What?
The new movie, not everywhere in America, but some people are like, look, we don't like Valentine's Day. We don't have fun with it, so how about we just have a second Halloween?
Trick or treat!
Yeah, I'm like, I would fucking love that. I mean, it's a little cold this time of year, but...
It can be cold in October, too.
Oh, yeah, I know, but I'm like, that would be so much fun. It's like, not everyone has a chance to celebrate Valentine's Day because not everyone can get a Valentine. So you know what? Let's have some other fun that day. Let's dress up. Let's have some more fun. Let's go out. We don't have to trick or treat, but let's have some more parties. Another excuse to dress up. Fucking yes. And have more candy.
And Snickers.
And Snickers.
Yes.
See, he's saying this because Kim's not here.
Oh.
Wait.
E-
No. Hold on.
If your lady is here,
she hates Valentine's Day.
Oh, okay.
She does. Wow. She despises it just like me. And this year she basically said, you know what you can get me for Valentine's Day? A heart-shaped donut from Dunkin' Donuts. You can get me that for Valentine's Day. I'm like, okay, done.
So
how sweet.
And we don't do anything for Valentine's Day. We might give each other a card. We don't go out to dinner. We just sit around. We'll watch a horror film. That's our Valentine's.
God, you're boring.
It's fucking great. It's fucking great.
That's right. That's the spirit. If you are both happy, that is the most important thing.
So
he probably let her down when they first started dating, and she's like, "Fuck Valentine's Day. What are these people fucking talking about?"
But anyway, let's get into our feature presentations. Now, there's a few coming out over the next few weeks, but there's a few that we definitely need to touch on. First one being one that comes out very soon, which is 50 Shades of Grey.
Yes. Oh, wait. What did I just say?
Yeah. Never read the book.
Mm-hmm.
Nope.
Read the description of the book. I actually had to wiki it. I was like,
oh my god. No,
really? This is what the book is about?
I can speak about this because I've read the description of the book.
No. I'm just saying. I never read the book.
No, I'm fucking with you.
I did read the description of the book, and I'm like, sounds like a pretty effed up book.
Oh, it is an effed up book.
It sounds like soft porn. Well, actually hardcore porn at some parts.
No, here's the thing. If it was just that, if it was just something for, middle-aged, housewives or, just women in general to enjoy as, something BDSM, something, different.
The trashy romance novel.
Right, trashy romance novels. There's hundreds of them. If it was just another one of them, it'd be harmless. It'd be fine.
But he's not Fabio.
Well, no. Here's the thing about this.
Fabio.
And there are dozens.
That's relevant. All the kids out there are like, oh yeah, Fabio, right?
Fabio, who's Fabio?
Well, for our 90s nostalgia, Fabio plays in well.
Can't believe it's not butter.
I can't believe it's not butter. Want me to spread that butter for you?
Oh dear.
I don't know if that's Fabio. That's more.
No, let her be. She's having fun.
No. Fabio was totally in the. Oh no, it wasn't. Yeah, he did the. I can't believe it's not butter.
But you're sounding British. Fabio sounded more like Tommy Wiseau. Okay.
I can't believe you're not butter.
Whatever.
It's like it was that accent where you couldn't tell where exactly he was from.
Where is Fabio from? Besides the land of hair that flows in the wind.
I think I broke Will.
Despite there's no
comparing
wind.
Fabio to Tommy Wiseau.
I want to go home. I don't feel safe.
Anyway, so
Will's been violated.
Will's
mind has been violated.
That's right.
I was gonna say there have been dozens, hundreds of articles detailing what I'm about to say and who have said it better. In fact, if you want a good person to read about this, go read Dr. Nerdlove. He has several articles detailing exactly what I'm about to say. Dr. Nerdlove.
Oh, Dr. Nerdlove.
Yeah.
Okay.
Really cool critic down in Austin who details, what?
I was just laughing at his name. I'm Dr. Nerdlove.
He's a cool guy. He gives really good advice.
Whoa. Don't need to be defensive.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, it's a funny name.
It's a creative name. I like it. But anyway.
Is that where you get all your love advice from?
No.
Okay.
Nerd.
Big nerd.
Nerd!
Nerf!
Narf? Wow.
Narf!
Yeah. Anyway.
90s.
50 Shades of Grey. The problem is it's not just trashy, or not trashy, just simple porn. It's not just, silly little fun in novel form. The problem with the story in this is that it is abuse. It is definition of abuse. What occurs in this story is that the girl, who is in fact a virgin, is systematically stalked and abused by this man, Christian Grey. And the fact that this has become so mainstream and that women actually accept it as something that's like what regular BDSM is about is horrific. Now, I'm gonna go off on a little tangent here, but stay with me.
No.
Too bad.
No.
If you want to practice this, bondage, sadomasochism, whatever, there is a right and safe way to do it. There is. And I know.
No, I just remember hearing on the news, like, in this town in England, all their hardware stores are stocking up on duct tape for the coming release of 50 Shades of Grey.
Oh, yeah, because that sounds really good, doesn't it?
I was like, they're doing what? And even the people were like, on the radio were like, yeah, that's what I said, folks. I was like, oh my goodness.
Right. And again, there are safe and practical ways to go about this. And if you in a relationship want to do that, that's great. Good on you.
Do it to it.
Do it to it. But what is detailed in this book is not that. This is physical and emotional abuse. Yeah. And for some reason, it's being passed off as romance. That is harmful. That is extremely harmful. And the fact that it's now gone mainstream and hundreds of thousands of women love it it's corrosive. It's the only way I can describe it.
I'm definitely not gonna.
And yet, it's now
I
become a mainstream film, and it's going to get released this weekend.
Yay!
So
on Valentine's Day.
Right. Now, a couple things I'm going to say about this. There's plenty of things to talk about, but I just want to touch on a couple things. First off, the PR campaign for this movie has been terrible. It's been revealed that the lead actors, Dakota Johnson, I think is her name, and the other guy, they hate each other's guts. They despise each other to the point of like when they're giving like press conferences, they have to be on opposite sides of the room.
Wow.
Yeah. And this is what's being passed off as chemistry in this movie. These two hated each other on set so much that they couldn't stand each other. And yet in this, they're supposed to be falling in love and
passionate
and doing all this stuff. And they hate each other, and that's just going to spell, terrible chemistry on screen.
Train wreck.
It's going to be a train wreck, yeah. Also, again, having not read the book, I know that there is some terrible dialogue in this book. And if it's taken straight from the book, like if they try to remain faithful to that dialogue, oh my god, this could be like on the Room level of dialogue.
Ooh.
It's gonna be so incredibly bad.
I guess that's the silver lining of all this. The riff tracks for this was gonna be great.
Oh my god. In Austin, they came out and said, we want Master Pancake Theater to rip this immediately. Because it's like this is easily gonna be one of the most riffable movies of all time. Jeez. Because it's going to be that bad. I'm going to hate saying this. I have a very morbid curiosity about this. I am not going to go see it in theaters. I will wait until someone I know owns a copy, and maybe I'll watch it then just to see how fucking bad it is. But I'm not giving this movie my money because this weekend it's going to break 90 million at the box office. This is probably going to be
disgusting.
This is going to be probably the biggest February release of all time. It's going to be scary. It's going to be very scary. And if I'm lying, I'm dying. I'm going to tell you this. There have been theaters, AMC, Cinemark, not them specifically, but theater chains, who have released statements saying, ladies, please do not bring your pleasure devices into the theater. They are asking women not to bring vibrators and dildos into theaters with them and masturbate in the theater.
What?
Yeah. Because they think that this movie is going to be so raunchy and so close to what is described in the book that women are just going to have to masturbate in the theater.
How deluded are they?
I'm like, what?
What the fuck world do they live in?
What?
That they think that would happen? Like, what?
I'm like, okay.
What kind of calculations did they do about what the fuck is going to go on?
Yeah, what was the focus group?
Yeah, where was their focus group?
Oh my god.
All right, now recalibrate, everyone.
Recalibrate.
Recalibrate.
Oh my god.
We all think they're going to bring in vibrators, so we should release statements.
Yeah, like, what? You think what?
Oh man. Well, I got nothing else to say about it other than this movie is probably going to be a special level of bad.
Yeah.
And none of us are going to see it.
No, of course not.
No.
So moving on to our next movie, which is Kingsman: The Secret Service. This one I am looking forward to. The movies like this are, very easy to write. They're simple. They're simple to write, but they're a lot of fun. It's just, the downtrodden kid who's down on his luck and discovers some secret society or, something to uplift him to become someone special, a hero.
Okay.
And for what this is, this looks great. Colin Firth, I love Colin Firth. You have Samuel Jackson as well. I don't know the young actor's name who's playing the lead, but he looks like he's doing a pretty decent job, and I'm very much looking forward to this. This looks like a lot of fun.
Nice. I don't really know much about it.
I'm tired of seeing the trailers, but the first time I saw it, I was like, that looks interesting.
Well, it's about a downtrodden kid in England who's running with the wrong crowd, but it's apparently extremely smart.
Yeah.
Colin Firth shows up one day in a pub and says, well, do you want a higher calling in life? And some guys who are coming in trying to, get some money or something from this kid are like, well, we want our money. And Colin Firth's like, look, just back off. I'm talking to him. Well, Colin Firth proceeds to walk away and lock the door to the pub and beat the living shit out of every one of these kids.
Okay.
Well, I say kids, they're probably 21, 22 or something.
Okay.
But
I was going to say,
not,
wait
not
a minute.
little kids.
Old kids.
Yeah. Listen, you little toddlers.
Right. But you realize
our
that Colin Firth has an umbrella that he can see through and that is bulletproof.
Cool.
So he can open up the umbrella, it repels all bullets, and he sees through it, and then the shaft of his umbrella is actually a gun itself and can fire out of it.
Okay.
So it's like the ultimate penguin umbrella.
If Penguin had that umbrella,
right.
Batman might
would be
not
in
have
trouble,
survived.
Right? Well, he goes on to say, look, I'm part of the Kingsmen, basically England's Secret Service.
Okay.
And we want to recruit you. And he takes them down, and they're not. He doesn't really call them spies. I think they refer to them as spies at one point, but they're not really spies.
Yeah.
But they have so much cool equipment. They have lighters that are hand grenades. And kind of MI6. It's James Bond, but another telling of them recruiting a kid to be in it. Okay. And it looks like a lot of fun. Them recruiting a bunch of other recruits. And really, problem solving to the point where, if you don't solve this now, you're going to die, and it looks like a lot of fun. And the main villain, I think, is actually Samuel Jackson.
Oh, cool.
So, yep.
Yeah, he is.
I'm very much looking forward to it, and I'm pretty sure we'll probably be seeing it this weekend. This will be a good Valentine's Day movie for Kim and I.
Right, there you go.
So moving on from that, we have, in a couple weeks now, we have McFarland. Now, have you guys heard of McFarland? We actually didn't talk about it on this podcast.
No.
McFarland is actually a Disney film coming out. It's another,
it's the running one.
Yes, it's a sports biopic kind of thing.
Yeah.
But it's about cross-country. It's about a school somewhere out west, I'm not sure, that has a high Hispanic population.
Okay,
like a no-name town kind of thing,
and,
off the grid.
Right. And it turns out these kids are very good cross-country runners. And this teacher or coach, who's Kevin Costner, comes out and says, well, these kids are great. They'd be great at cross country, but cross country is very much, a private school sport, or what they call a white kid sport. It's for people who play golf, is what one of the kids says. And there's one point in the teaser where the kid's he's looking at another white boy on another team. He's like, "You play golf?" And he's like, "Yeah." And he's like, "This isn't golf," and just takes off. Wow, really?
Dick.
Yeah, dick. Well, I don't know what to say about this. I mean, Disney sports films are very hit and miss. I mean, a lot of sports films are hit and miss. And some of them over the years have been fantastic, but these can get very cliche in a hurry.
Yeah.
The downtrodden kids, it's society not accepting them, and then one of them, has a problem with a girlfriend, or one of them is having trouble in class, and it's all the same tropes. I hope this movie doesn't have that, but from what I've seen in the trailers, it looks pretty generic, except for the fact this time around it's not basketball or football, it's cross country. So it's running. It's just running.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not disparaging anyone who does cross country. I know it's very physically demanding, but it's basically going to be a movie version of people running.
Fast.
Yeah. Well, not even fast, just at a controlled pace to make sure that you don't overwork yourself or pass out.
A lot of people running.
Right. It's running. So, I don't know. I can't say I'm looking forward to it, and I probably won't see it.
Yeah, I'm not exactly the demographic they're shooting for.
No,
yeah.
They're shooting for the underdogs.
I mean, it's an interesting premise and all, certainly,
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm not really looking forward to it. No. First time I saw, like, the first trailers on TV, I was like, what is this movie about? Is this movie about what?
Yeah. I
had to, like, really watch it, and I was like, oh, it's a cross-country movie about, like, a small town. I was like, oh, all right, that's totally not what... I didn't know what I thought the first couple times I saw it. A few times later, I was like, oh
yep.
Okay, no thank you, but thanks.
Yeah.
You showed it to me.
Yep. That's about it. Nothing else really to say except, I'm not looking forward to it. Sorry. I mean, now that's going to be bad, it's just probably not where it's something we're going to see.
Yeah.
But finally, the last one on our list is Hot Tub Time Machine 2.
Thank goodness.
Well, yeah, I mean, another one, it's like, did you really have to make a sequel? But from what I've seen in the teasers, it looks kind of fun. I had a lot of fun with the first Hot Tub Time Machine. Now, again, they're not bringing back everyone from this. John Cusack isn't coming back, but all the other main cast is coming back. And from what I can tell, this will be fun. I mean, it's not them going into the past this time. It's them going into the future and kind of dealing with, the consequences of them kind of fucking with the timeline. It's, it's fun with time travel. Time travel paradoxes and cinema can get very old very fast, even though I love that stuff.
Yeah.
But this is just one where it's like, you know what, screw it. Let's just have fun with time travel. And I can get behind that. I got behind that in the first one. I can only hope this one goes along the same lines. What do you guys think? Have you guys seen any recent teasers or TV spots for it?
No, I heard that they were making it, but that's all I'd heard about it.
I think I've seen one commercial, and I was like, well, it's got a few cute
There hasn't been a whole lot of advertising.
Stuff.
Yeah.
No, I was like, oh, well, that's kind of a funny line. I don't know if I would see it.
I would see it.
But I was like, it's higher on my list than other things that I've seen trailers for.
Right. But it looks like what happens is something really bad occurs in the timeline, and they have to keep going back further to try and fix stuff. At one point, you see Rob Corddry walk out, and he's from the Revolutionary War. It's like, come on, guys, we got to go make America happen.
Oh, jeez.
I'm like, oh my God, that's so good.
Make America happen.
Make America happen.
That's a pretty good line.
America.
And I was like, that's pretty fun. And I gotta say, I kind of want to see this. It looks like it might just be, something that's just cashing on the original. But I said the same thing about 22 Jump Street. And 22 Jump Street was really fun. So I can only hope this one is the same thing, where it's kind of a rehashing of the original, but it still has much better jokes.
Right.
Which is what 22 Jump Street did. So I'm hopeful. I'm very hopeful, and I might see it.
I doubt I'll see it in theaters, but yeah, there's a good chance I'll see it eventually, like Redbox or on demand, something like that.
Yep. So, unless there's anything else you guys want to bring up, we've gone from angry trees to
chipmunks
to recalibrations.
Recalibration. It's not a reboot. It's not a remake.
Right.
Not a restart. It's a recalibration.
But I tell you what, and we've had this joke for a long time now, but whenever it's the Fangirl and Kim and I on the podcast, we'll record for fucking 3 hours. It's just like we just don't stop talking. We look like, oh my God, we've gone way too long.
You guys.
Yeah, I know.
Oh, you guys.
Oh, you.
Oh, you.
But I want to thank the Dystopian for coming by.
Yeah, good to be here.
Good. Glad you could come by. And I want to thank the 3-Star Sapphire for coming back. I know the fans have been missing you, and so have we. It's really good having you back.
I'm hoping to be back more often.
Yeah, we will definitely have you on more often.
We're going to try to make it happen, Captain.
Yeah, we will make it happen. And I, once again, am the Projectionist. I want to thank you all for tuning in. Have a very good night. Have a good Valentine's Day, and take care.
Bye.